came in, but
Uh,
we have Dan the Man Boxing, and we are live. EJ Boxing Live with Dan the Man. What's up, Dan? How you been?
I've been all right, man. Still trying to keep up in certain ways. What's going on?
Bro, there's so much things in boxing. People, upset about Vander Holyfield. I mean, that's your guy, man. What do you have to say about it?
Well, let me just say this. Did he take any really flush shots? No. I mean, there. If you look at the replay, the shot that caught him that knocked him down was a flash knockdown. It caught him, I think, on the glove, and then he slipped. I mean, he just couldn't. He didn't really have the balance, and that just goes to show his age, man. It's like you're 58 years old. You don't have the legs anymore. So, and of course the stoppage, he didn't really take any flush stocks. They were all in the glove. But when he's not throwing anything back, what's the referee supposed to do? I mean, you think about it. You're 58 years old. We don't want to have a massacre on our hands. You know what I mean? So,
Well,
look, it is what it is. It doesn't deter his legacy and his career, but you know, for Victor Belfort and his family celebrate like that was a tremendous victory for them. And now all of a sudden they want to call out Jake Paul and all that stuff. Okay, whatever.
yeah, that's another
I,
payday. The thing is, yeah, he shouldn't. The thing is, yeah, if you take a fight on short notice, that's what happens, man. Like he shouldn't have took the fight. He should have waited and
mhm,
fought who trained, because you training camp, you're taking the fight on short notice, and
right,
this guy's a completely different style. That's why Vander wants to fight him again, because people don't understand. Like, he took the fight to save the show, but in the same
right,
time, this is what happens in that respect. This guy has fast hands. He's a southpaw. Your training camp or whatever you was doing wasn't prepared for that, and that's what Evander Holyfield feels. He didn't get the thing, but there's no excuses. We don't want to hear that. Furthermore, it's
right,
supposed to be an exhibition. So why was
right.
there knockdown, or why was he stopped? Like, can someone explain that?
I don't know, man. I have no idea. I mean, look, they were wearing like what 14-ounce gloves, so yeah, you can tell that's usually used for exhibition bouts. But I don't. The whole event was, pretty bad. It was pretty bad, and Trilla's going to have to really rethink their strategy if they're going to keep putting on shows like this and think they're going to attract crowds. Then they got a rude awakening. I mean, it's going to be at some point, sometime that professional fighters themselves who put their lives on online just to build a legacy in the sport going to have to
Mhm.
look at this and say, you know what, we're losing out our audience to get shit like this. You know what I mean? And we need to start making the fights that the fans want to see. We got to stop holding out. We got to stop waiting till things marinate to make the fight bigger than what it seems. You got to, I think that day and age is kind of over now because you have the social media boxing that's coming in and taking over, you know, and these crossover fights with the old UFC legends going up against, other boxing legends. Whether the case may be the crossover fights.
Mhm.
I think more so the actual pro boxers are losing out to that front more so than maybe the social media front other than Jake Paul and Logan Paul. But I mean, it's a rude awakening in my view. I think hopefully with the Usyk and Joshua comes through with no hiccups. Hopefully no one gets injured, or God forbid if someone pulls out because of a COVID diagnosis. I just think that that fight needs to kind of turn things around. Hopefully it does. That's just
Well,
my take on it.
I think people jumping off the cliff and not taking it in really. First and foremost, if this is exhibition, where's the headgear? So this is not exhibition. So they're tricking the fans into say it's exhibition when we know it's not. These are proper
Right,
fights. These guys are going for it. Like these guys are getting knocked out. Like two of the two, like bro, Van Holyfield, like you say, he wasn't really hurt. He was just caught off guard and stuff like that, and he was getting
right.
overwhelmed. But bruv, like TOT's got knocked out.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that was clean. Ugh,
yeah, you
ugly
see,
clean.
bro, that's like, yo, that's supposed to be exhibition. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
exhibition ain't supposed to be that. You ain't supposed to knock your opponent out. You're supposed to just show your skills. So this is
Well,
what I'm saying. Go
to
ahead.
be fair, that was not an exhibition bout. That was actually a pro fight between the two, between Silva and
Which one was advertised? I heard I heard all of them were exhibitions, right? Or they wasn't.
nah, no, they weren't. They weren't. No, they were all pro bouts. Even
Hey,
if
what
yeah,
pro bout? So this is on the Van Holyfield's record.
yeah, they were sanctioned. Yeah, these were sanctioned fights.
Oh man, that's
Yeah,
terrible. Well, hey,
yeah.
that's
I hope
terrible.
I hope the Holyfield fight is not a sanctioned fight that goes on his record. I think it is. I have to go back and check on his
But
boxing
that's
record.
what, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. And look, AJ took a fight with Ruiz on short notice. You didn't
Uh-huh.
train for the guy. You just coming in. It's Evander Holyfield. I thought he would win the fight. I honestly did. You know what I mean? But I know Vitor's gonna blitz him. That's what he ain't gonna be hanging around. And
Well, I mean, to be fair,
if
AJ
I can
had 2 weeks to prepare. I know there's
hold
no
on, and hold on. Now let me
excuses.
finish
I'm
what I'm
sorry.
saying. Right. So Vitor. If you look at Vitor, that's how he fights. He comes and he blitz. I was surprised he was a southpaw actually, but he comes. He's gonna blitz you. So like Evander's style and his age, that's gonna work because Evander works off rhythm, and taking charge. He's not used to. Remember, he's a pro fighter, so he's used to just going through the rounds. As the rounds get better. Sorry, I'm listening while taking care of a few things. That's cool, Dolly. That's cool, man. No worries. Right. Evander take a couple of rounds before he gets warmed up, right? But Vito will come in and just blitz. And I think that's the short notice thing. I think Evander knew that was going to happen. He would have probably fought differently. This is why he wants the rematch. I personally think to myself, well, we wish they rematch, but I have to give the man a chance. Say, yo, if he prepares properly and knows who he's fighting, I think maybe he does better in the rematch. You know what I mean? But most people think, nah, it's not good because it's the way he got bad. But go ahead, Dan, say your piece.
Well, I mean, that is a contributing factor, but I would say though, Evander Holyfield is slow, man. Look at his hand speed. He looked very slow. I mean, it's just like his punches where you could see him for like 3 miles away. That's how slow he was. So even if he had proper preparation, it doesn't help the fact you don't have the hand speed anymore. You don't have the obviously you don't have the reflexes, and your feet are not there anymore. So I don't think honestly that's why I slightly disagree. I don't think even if he had proper preparation, he would have won the fight. Maybe he could have done slightly better, but he still would have lost either way. That's just my opinion. He still would have lost. And this is a great fighter. I'm just being honest. This is a great fighter. You don't need. I mean, look. I guess this is just a cash grab for him. I guess, but you don't really need to. You have nothing to prove anymore, man. You're a Hall of Famer. Everybody knows that. You are in the Hall of Fame, so. So you don't need to do this, man. And his family was worried about this too, going in. So,
well, I tell you what, they should put his son in against Vitor. How about them apples, eh?
Yeah.
Hey, what about this one? Why didn't they offer it to McBride? Why you gonna pick Evander? Yeah.
Yeah, McBride was supposed to fight Holyfield one time, remember?
No. Vitor Belfort. Why he step in? Why didn't McBride, Evander Holyfield's opponent, why he step in? Because Evander was, to me, that McBride guy that's a big lump. Evander was ready. See, Evander would have probably won that fight, right? Because that guy's so slow. Evander would have been faster than him. But if this guy was faster than Evander, that's what I said. Like, he come in to save the show. But I don't know who advised Evander say, no, this is a wrong matchup. This guy's younger, faster than what you trained for. That's all this was. This is a bad stylistic matchup. That in his prime, he would have ate this kid for life because he's durable, has chin, and he has resiliency. But like Vitor is been Vitor from the MMA. He just, whether he's coming in kicks and knees, he's just coming to blitz. And that's why I said it's a bad opponent. And they could have asked McBride instead of Evander, but Evander's one of them guys there. I'll take it. Okay, no problem. And you had hey, bruv. You had Don, what's his name again? You had Donald Trump doing the commentary. My gosh. He's all right though. He's pretty good. What do you think?
Well, he was only there to do, he was only there momentarily to do the commentary. Then the rest was 50 Cent, Sean Porter, and Ray Flores.
Good.
So
excellent.
Yeah, so they didn't have him on there that long because they knew if he was on there longer than what he seemed, he would have said something that would have pissed off the producers, of the Triller Fight Club, which is owned by Fight TV, by the way. So they probably told the former president, "Hey, we can't have you on that long. Well, go ahead and introduce you. You can say a few things, and that's it. We can't have you to do the entire commentary."
He's a big fan of. I don't think he was supposed to anyway. He's a big fan of Evander Holyfield.
Boxing. Yeah, he's a big fan of boxing.
Evander Holyfield. He saw all of his big fights, and he came to support, and he led it to the atmosphere. Now, and also Jim Lampley was supposed to do the commentary as well, but he pulled out.
He pulled out because
one minute, Dan. One minute.
Oh, sorry, Byron.
Yeah, he pulled out when Oscar pulled out because that's the only reason why he would come, because he's a big fan of Oscar and he thought it's a good payday. But when Oscar pulled out, he said, "Nah, I don't want to be a part. I don't want to." That's what I think. He don't want to be a part of that situation. But overall, I think the entertainment value was good. Yeah, Donald Trump, Evander Holyfield, and I think they got their money's worth. And people was all right. Look, Evander Holyfield losing, it was probably a bigger shock. And the way he lost is like, nah, this shouldn't go on. But listen to these people doing these things. Yeah, What do they want mismatches or do they want competitive fights? You know, they have to think about that. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, look, I I think what I don't know. I'm kind of torn about this. I mean, some part of me like Triller in their format to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
but to me, it's like they can't continue to be doing these what's the word I'm looking for? Not saying clown show of a fight, but if they continue to do things like this, I just don't see if the audience is going to continue to be receptive to it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they do need to change the format a little bit. I'm not saying do a drastic change. You're going to keep the music content part of it fine, but I just kind of think they just need to focus a little bit more on putting on more serious fights than these crossover or these gimmick fights. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's what they need to do. I know they got Michael Hunter signed to the platform. That's good. I think they got other fighters coming in. So I think that's what they need to slight shift their focus on a little bit. I know Team Female and Cambosis is going to be their first actual real fight card, as you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I think that will definitely be a to start starting in that slight different direction. You know what I mean? So as far as David Haye and Joe Fournier, we want to talk about that?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Look, David Haye, he's saying he came back because he wants to fight Tyson Fury. I mean, as I recall, he ducked out of that fight 3 times, didn't he not?
Two times.
David Haye?
Two times.
Okay. 2 times he ducked out of that fight. Okay.
Mm.
So, do I take him seriously? No. I mean, does he have a chance against Tyson Fury at his age? No, I don't think so. David Haye is not the same anymore. He looked pretty good, but that's the sparring partner. He knew the guy for a long time, Joe Fournier. And look at the size difference between the two. Gee, my God. Was that even a heavyweight fight or a cruiserweight fight?
Couldn't tell you, man. Well, the guy was who was bigger. Who was? I actually, to be fair, I just saw the highlights. It's on Sky Sports, and to be fair, Dan, I didn't watch none of it. I just watched the highlights, and I didn't. Who was bigger? David Haye was bigger. The guy was bigger.
Obviously, David Haye was bigger. Yeah, that's why I want to know what was the fight. What was it? What type of weight was it at? Because Fournier looked like he was a goddamn little cruiserweight. And David Haye obviously looked like the heavyweight in there. I mean, that's why I was wondering, was this a heavyweight fight or was it I don't know. That's why I'm like, that's why I'm saying that we need to go back to serious boxing now. I mean, enough with these gimmicks right now. I mean, these social media fights, that's just my opinion on it. And there's one of them I want to talk about too that's under a big scandal. I'm not sure you've heard about it.
Go ahead.
You remember the what you call the YouTubers versus TikTokers boxing event that took place a couple months back?
They haven't got paid yet. That's what I know about that.
Yeah, they haven't got paid, and that the presenters, the PAs, the commentary, no one got paid. Not even DJ Khaled, who made guest appearances, he didn't even get paid. So James Harden, who was the pretty much the only investor of the promotion, he didn't even get paid, and now he's suing for $2.4 million because he was told if he invests the initial $2 million, he'll see net profit of $400,000, which in return he'll get $2.4 million. So that's what this was about, and he never saw that money. Now he's suing, and the fact is that I think there was only 2 people. Well, technically 3. There was three people that got paid for the event. One was Austin McBroom. The other 2 were Gibb and DG. And the reason why that happened because DJ manager, he was very smart. He knew that this was something suspect about their projections, this, that, and the third. He said, okay, if you guys are projecting to do 200 to 500 million dollars of revenue based off the pay-per-view buys, then what's the problem with giving my fighters, my guys, their advance payment in full? And obviously they were going to give them an initial payment, but they were going to get paid after the event concluded. And the manager was like, "Nah, forget that. If your projection is 500 million, 200 million to 500 million, you need to pay us an initial advance, and then you pay us the rest, the balance is due on the night of the fight. No afterwards, on the night of the fight. Otherwise, my guys are not fighting." So he was able to pull that together and give them the money they were promised, that they would agree to. I think DJ got like 3 million, I think, and Gibb got about the same amount as well. So they got paid because their manager was smart, because he's like, look, if your projections is what it is, there's no problem with you paying us to, prior to and the day of the fight. So that's how it's going to be. So anyhow, the other guys like Bryce Hall and Taylor Holder, they got like 20,000 or 15,000 payment in advance, but they didn't get their like $500 million as they were promised. So the event only did like $18 million in revenue, which you look at it, it's like, that's not bad. But you have to take into account the purses that they promised these fighters, and the presenters, the announce team, the production crew, the investors. Well, only one of them, and Live X Live, who actually agreed to chip in and do the marketing of the promotion. They all were looking to get paid. And guess who? Social Gloves was the main organizer, right? Guess who owns Social Club? Austin McBroom. So he's the one who's getting sued over this situation. He's got like over $150 million lawsuit in his hands. And this guy is known, and I'm doing some digging on him. He's known to be a fraudster, a con artist. So, this is, like I said, though, my point is that don't believe in hyping all these YouTuber, TikTok boxing events. They don't make as much money as it seems. The only person you could think is probably going to draw will make more than that. Well, he's kind of evolved from that, as Jake Paul. He's evolved from that. So I guess you don't have to really include him in that sphere anymore. But the fact is that those events don't make as much money as it seems, and that was it was a disaster. So now I don't know what Austin McBroom's going to do, but he is going to be really left with nothing out of the situation. He's going to be broke, period. Seriously broke. But I don't know what your take on that.
No, but that's something interesting. Shows you like some of these events and people putting money into boxing, that does happen. But I look at it like this, yeah. If there's a demand for certain fights, then people gonna watch. Like, we're in a different era. We're in a social media era, supply and demand. Vander Holyfield, his name, he's still a big name. Fact that people actually tuned in to see him fight. Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, came to do the commentary. You know what I mean? All these people come around us. So Triller really does do a good job of bringing entertainment. Now, the quality of the fights, that's up to the fighters. They can't predict that. They can't predict that. If they're talking about competitive fights, even fights that we think are going to be great. Look at the other day we talk about. The other day we supposed to see Josh Warrington versus Mauricio Lara. That's a real fight. Look how that ended. So there's no guarantee that you build the fight that it's going to end that way. And so far, Triller, they give you more than just the fight. They give you a whole package, the commentary, and you got the music and stuff like that. And people always come because the artists, you got the DJ artist, and you have Snoop Dogg and all these other people there. So you're guaranteed to get a crowd, regardless whether it's a boxing crowd, the purest boxing crowd are gonna watch it. Now, David Haye on the back of that calling out Tyson Fury, and let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
He called him twice. Yeah, he was the A side in that fight. He had David Promotions. If the fight would go ahead with Fury, he would have. It was a pay-per-view fight. He pulled out. Next time he pulled out, he pulled out. He said a rotator cuff. Fury knew that. He said, "Look, I'm gonna beat this guy. I know I'm gonna beat him, and he doesn't want the fight. I can tell him." And I remember they asked for at the time they asked for a replacement, and that replacement at the time was Wilder, and Sky turned it down. Wilder was up for it. Yeah. Fury said, I want a replacement. We want Deontay Wilder. Wilder said, yeah, I'll take it. Fury was up for it. Sky turned the damn fight down.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, bro. Yeah. I remember that. And Fury was so upset. Go, why? We're both young prospects. I think it's a good fight. No one knows who Wilder is. That's what they said. You know what I mean?
So Fury wanted Wilder as a replacement, right?
Yes. Yeah. For David Haye. Yeah. Because Wilder was training at Hayes camp, and he was ready, and thing was ready. You know what I mean? And they said, yeah, let's get it on, and they turned it, found out that. So we would have already had that first fight years ago. You know what I mean? And they turned it down, like American unknown Wilder versus Fury. Fury was up for it there and then. Fury was up for it back then. Like, You know what I
I mean,
mean?
you have two guys who are motivated. They were in their prospecting years in their prime. Yeah, that should have been
Yes.
a fight.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
should. Yeah, we should.
So what I was saying is that like when it comes down to David Haye and him being relevant, and this is another thing as well. He's been managing Derek Chisora for a couple of years, right? And all of a sudden now, after being around Derek Chisora and the sulky way, childish way, the immature way Derek Chisora conducts himself, he said, "My God." David had to learn a lesson of how he treats other people. That's how he's been treating other people. And that's why I feel like he had a fight. He needs to have a fight to prove that, you know what? I've still got it. I can still fight and I can still generate money. And that's what this is about. The Fury fight, whether win or loses, he's going to get paid. And that's what it comes down to. These guys don't really care about their legacy no more. And then what we're seeing, in fact, boxers are prostituting themselves for the buck. Is Evander Holyfield? I think Evander Holyfield truly wants the competition. I don't really think this is just me. I don't know if he's looking for a buck. I've never heard it. I know he had trouble with his money, but I'm not sure Evander was doing that. But Evander, to me, always seems like the type of guy to test himself, even at an advanced age. You get me? Because I remember he wanted his pro license and they turned it down. So this is another way. Evander wanted to fight back then. So I think Evander's just trying to. That's what he is. He's a warrior. He wants to try and show himself. I thought David Haye broke his leg. Nah, it was rotator cuff. That's what it was. That's why I didn't fight. Haye beat Chisora. Yeah, Haye best beat Chisora best. Yeah. He did
At his best. Yeah,
at his best. Yeah. If he's healthy, he has a shot. Nah, he hasn't got a shot against Tyson Fury, bro. He ain't got.
Well,
a shot.
you know what? To your point, though, it will draw a lot of money, so that will kind of take tension away from this Anthony Joshua situation.
Limelight, and he's around people on him. David Haye needs people to boost his self-esteem. You know what I mean? He builds his self-esteem. Let him know that he was a fighter. Maybe and he'll give it a chop. He's still got bombs in his hands, as you can see by this picture. he could think. Fury never is like, bruh, I wouldn't even piss on you, bro. Fury wouldn't. Fury, even if Fury he wouldn't. But Fury looking at what AJ, bro. Bro, AJ is the cash cow. And the funny thing about it, if he was smart, he should just call out AJ, bro. I remember, but he should just call out AJ. But he know realistically, AJ would take him seriously. I remember that was a possibility. AJ didn't want the fight, by the way. Actually, AJ didn't want the fight.
Yeah, he didn't want the David Haye fight. I remember that.
No way. He said nah. And because look, David Haye and Usyk, they're very similar. If anything, Usyk, David Haye's more dangerous than Usyk, in certain ways, because he can really friggin' bang, bruh. He can bang, and he's quite elusive, His movement is very, very good, So AJ's people said, no, we wouldn't take that. So if he was smart, I would just call that AJ. I want AJ and Thing. I want AJ, but he ain't gonna get the Fury fight because Fury's wrapped up with Wilder. If you want to fight on the rebound, you could fight one of them other guys, but you're gonna get pinned down, bro. You're gonna get pinned down. That's what I think. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, it'd be definitely interesting to see how the UK boxing landscape, how that shifts over. With David Haye coming back, I think part of me would think he's coming back is after Chisora is no longer his client, he needs some other revenue stream. So he doesn't have any other fighters. Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing he can do is fight at this point. Mm-hmm. That's part of it. That's why he came back. But he can talk himself into a big money fight. That is David Haye. He can do that. He is proven to be a draw over the years. So you can't take that away from him. Right?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, but we all know he can't beat Tyson Fury at this stage of his career. We know that. We know that. Definitely be entertaining. People definitely buy it.
I don't think we're gonna beat him in his prime. Fury is hard to. Fury's a big guy, hard to beat. And if you can get close to his shin, then fine. If he puts it in front of you, then but he's just hard to beat. Then when you got a big guy, gangly, can move a bit, can jab. They're very hard. That just in general, in boxing terms, it's hard. It takes a lot of effort and energy to beat him, to beat someone like unless you're around their height and stuff like that. Oh, there we go. We got Unrival just jumping in. What's up, Unrival? Fresh off coming off Mad Chad's channel. Shout out to Mad Chad. What's up, Unrival?
I've been off there for about 40 minutes now, but at least DJ is always watching where everybody is, man. I feel stalked, Jeez.
Some to everyone, bro. Some to everyone, all of you guys. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. We were just chopping up on the weekend's fights. David Haye called out Tyson Fury. What do you think?
Let's get. Let's get it.
Go ahead, go man. You gonna expand on that, or that's what you're gonna say?
Well, that's all. What else is to say? No, let's not get it, or let's get it.
So you want the fight?
I don't really care. I mean, look, Tyson Fury's up on Twitter saying he's going to spark Wilder, right, in this third fight. That's hard enough to do. And then he's going to fight Dillian White in December, yeah? Right? Which is a whole load of fucking bollocks. Look at his track record, AJ. Look at his track record. The man's made 0 title defenses, and he became a champion nearly 6 years ago.
Does that matter? Really, does that matter? I don't really care about that shit.
Well, no, hold on. It does for the whole point and conversation of David Haye, right? Because he hasn't defended. So he's going to defend against Wilder and then Dillian White back-to-back in the space of 2 months? No. He's going to fight somebody where he can make money. That's easy. So it's going to he might actually fight David Haye in December if he were to beat if he were to beat Wilder.
That's a good point, you know. Yeah, it's true, you know. David Haye's an easy beat down another payday, isn't it?
Yeah. It's more money than the Tom Schwartz fight, and it's probably more credible.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good. And he wanted to beat him. He wanted to beat him back then. You know, I didn't think of it like that. You know, yeah, because we was looking on the aspect of competitiveness. You know what I mean? It's just one sided, but that's what Fury likes. He likes non-competitive. I got my man Shaw in the house. Yeah, he's a big Tyson Fury fan. You get me? Like, you know, he wants to talk about the Usyk fight and the Usyk and the AJ fight. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a bit, though. But you bring up a good point on Rival, man. You bring up a good point. You know what I mean?
Look, the man's already made the idea, right? If he were to beat Wilder, he wants to tune up before the AJ fight, right? Just for ring rust or whatever. He ain't gonna fight an elite guy. He's gonna want to make money. David Haye makes sense.
Shit, bro, you convinced me, man. You really done a good job.
I don't want to see the fight, but it's realistic.
Dan, you got anything to say? I don't think Dan's gonna say anything to that. I think Dan's just silent on that one, bro. I think
no. I'm here. My bad. Yeah, my bad. Look, like I said, I think it's a money grab for David Haye since he's no longer has any fighters to manage, particularly Derek Chisora. So he's got to put his name out there just to get himself into a big fight with these heavyweights. That's what he's got to have to do. So, like I said, I don't give him not even one fucking chance in the world to beat Tyson Fury, even if Tyson Fury is serious to taking the fight. But like I said, though, man, I overall, look, these heavyweights really got to get it going because this division is looking horribly weak. I mean, the '80s fucking division is looking a lot better than what we see today. And I remember once upon a time when Wilder and all these guys, Joshua, Fury, Parker, when these guys were all emerging. Okay, great. That means we can all get them all fighting each other. Yeah, they have done to some extent, but it's not on a consistent level like the other heavyweights did back in the day, especially in the '70s, the '80s, and of course the '90s. So I just think that at this point, yeah, look, Tyson Fury, who cares? I mean, yeah, he is making his first title defense of an alphabet belt after being a champion for 6 years, right? So, will he win the fight? I mean, he's supposed to on paper, but obviously, I think he will. But given the fact that he's not a disciplined fighter, he's not a natural athlete, that can plague him. He's been out of the ring for so long, so. To be fair, Wilder has too, but Wilder always stays in shape. That's the difference between the two. So, look, I'm not saying Wilder's going to win it, but don't doubt the guy out. I gave him a much better chance of winning this fight if it had happened last year, as it was scheduled before the pandemic hit. So, I don't know, man. I'm just like, I'm just a little bummed out from what I'm seeing right now, especially from the last night's Triller card. The Oscar Valdez fight that took place.
We can talk about that. We can talk about that.
It's just depressing to watch this right now at this point.
Well, you're talking about how the WBC allowed the whole thing, and then look how hard they come down on other people, but because he's like one of their boys in that, so they just
yeah. It's just that it's criminal what they're doing because this is not the first time they've done it. They did this for Luis Nery. They did this to Ray Vargas. They did this for Canelo Alvarez. He did serve a suspension, so let's be a little fair in that situation. But after Canelo served his suspension, they decided to to change regulation when it comes to computerol, just to benefit Canelo and other fighters who are getting caught with that mess, particularly primarily in Mexico. So, but the thing is too, when one of their primary fighters get caught doing something, they'll report it. Yeah, they are showing a little transparency there. But the fact is they'll find something, some loophole to make some type of technicality to make sure they don't get penalized for getting caught with a drug test. And I know some people are wondering, why doesn't VADA do anything about it? Well, the problem is that VADA doesn't have the power to sanction or penalize anyone who's got caught with a banned substance. They don't have that power. They can only report it, send it to the overseeing commission, and let them handle it. That's the way it works. I know it's a fucked up way of doing things, but that's just the way it is. But me personally, Oscar Valdez, and him didn't even make the weight for the fight for the first time around. He did make it eventually, but it just goes to show you that this whole thing with Oscar Valdez was just handled very, very badly, very badly. And for him to come out and say that I'm being victimized here, you shouldn't pick on me, man, fuck you, man. You got caught with a banned substance. You had somebody to clear it up for you, and then didn't make weight for the fight for the first time, even though you did make it on the second attempt. And then you want to talk about you guys shouldn't even at the end of the post fight, I'm a victim here. Don't do this to me. That this, that, and the third. Please, bro. I mean, it's just sickening to hear Valdez go up there. And I like Oscar Valdez. For him to go up there and try to victimize himself for the situation is just disgusting. That's all I gotta say.
And Rival, what's your take on the situation?
But Oscar Valdez has had such a hard week, Dan. He's had such a hard week. It was very difficult on him and tough. Testing positive. It's got to take a lot out of you, man. And being exposed. Look, the one thing I don't understand is where the loophole is. I get the idea that not the sanctioning body, but the athletic commission can let the fight go ahead. But that doesn't mean they're in charge of what happens in a championship caliber fight, right? We've seen a situation in the UK with Julio Cesar Martinez, right? And Charlie Edwards. The UK don't have an instant replay rule, but the WBC insisted on it, and that's why we got that result, right? Because that's their ruling. So they are able to supersede in their sanctioned bouts. They refused to this time. It's not about letting the fight go ahead. You can strip him of the damn title. No athletic commission has any say on if a title is to remain in a fighter's hands or not. That's different. And that's what bothers me about the whole situation. The WBC are just like putting that out there, but it's completely false.
Yeah, I mean, boy, they got double standards, and it's funny that if you look at the Canelo camp, boy, Canelo himself, Valdez, who else they got down there? They seem like a bunch of bloody drug cheats down there, and because they bring in the money and the A side, and they've done whatever, it's bad, man. It's a bad look, So we talk about real fighting, but real fighters are up to no good. They've got that drug thing tangling over them, and Valdez, the way he acts, he ain't got no friends, and I'm telling you, people want to see his ass get beat, bro. You know what I mean? And now they look at the fight when he fought Belcher, right, or Pachel. When he had that fight, like, was he doing it then, or people saw him? Oh, what he took is not going to affect him. I mean, I was listening to ringside report with Beeb and they were talking about. 1 minute, I have to mute Dan with background. 1 minute, I'll put you on mute, Dan. 1 second, get a background. Yeah. They were talking about Beeb and I believe who was it? A fight doctor, and who was in there? There was other guys in there. And they were telling Beeb, about the drug, and he goes, well, it doesn't really help him in the ring. And it's like, but brother, it's a banned substance, and what it does, it helps him make the weight. And he goes, yeah, but it doesn't help him in the fight. I goes, hold on a minute. If it's helping him make the weight, get your weight done, that's helping with your conditioning, your fitness. And that helps you to go the distance, and you'll have more and in boxing, strength is stamina. And that's what's helping in making you lose the weight, helps with your stamina, doesn't it? So that's really why it's been banned. And I mean, and B was making an argument. I took it in. Go, well, brother, it help with your stamina, bro. Like, what you mean?
EJ, can I say one thing?
Yeah, go on.
Mauricio Sullivan is the one who put the idea out that it doesn't give you any performance enhancing, right? He said that. And a lot of people have kind of run with that. But Mauricio's not a specialist. Do you know who is a specialist though?
Go ahead.
Victor Conte, and he says it's a cardiovascular layer.
There you
And
go.
I think Victor Conte knows way more about that shit than we do. Whether I like him or not. He like if he were to tell me, yeah, this is going to improve your cardio and your bloodstream, he's telling you the truth because he knows.
But that's what I'm saying, and that there is why it's been banned, and you shouldn't be taking it, and there should be penalized. You should be penalized for taking it, and you know from this point onwards, and the way he conducted himself, he's a blatant cheat. You know, and the funny thing, Floyd Mayweather, a lot of people criticize him about. I want a even playing field. I want it fair. Everyone was booing him and this, that, the other. Now you're seeing it. You're seeing it firsthand, and even the corporate court and the sanctioning body even backing him. They're showing you that the brother is bad. So maybe some of these exhibitions ain't even half all that bad. What you're seeing in combat world, what people would do for a buck. Back in the days, it was you know, they used to rig fights on the terms of who would win, right? But now people don't care if they put this stuff in there. You get killed on this stuff. So that's what's happening here in boxing. I'm still going to watch boxing. You know, we just hope that, you know, the fighters get a clean, even playing field. But bruh, this is that kid. After his big fight against Pachel and he's put himself in this light, people just want to see it against Applet. And furthermore, we have a massive fight, a really good fight this weekend. Stephen Fulton Jr. He's got unified.
No, that's been pushed back. That's been pushed back.
Oh yeah,
to October. Yeah, Figueroa tested positive for COVID.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. All right, listen, there. See, that's it. I'm glad. See, I was about to do that fun. But all right, but that's a really good fight coming up. All right. After that, now let's talk about AJ and Usyk because that's the one that my man Chaz was to talk about. AJ and Usyk. AJ 31, Usyk 34. Usyk's timing has been off because he's been off a little bit longer than AJ. AJ doesn't really mind fighting once or twice or near a year off. Usyk's been out for a hell of a lot of time. He's much smaller. Usyk's had 18 fights. Anthony Joshua 25. Anthony Joshua's got 24 wins. Usyk's got 18 wins, so he's won all his fights. Now the thing is, obviously AJ's lost to Ruiz. AJ's got 22 knockouts. Usyk's got 13, so it shows that he can hit. But he didn't help when Manny Pacquiao fought was it Ukasab or whatever his name is. That it didn't help him. And Manny Pacquiao, because you look at Manny Pacquiao, all them knockouts, but bro, you got to land your shots. Anthony Joshua 6'6", Usyk 6'3". The reach advantage 82 to AJ, 78 to Usyk. Orthodox Southpaw. Ooh, so that's a different AJ and my man. I didn't know he was called the cat. Ukraine, Britain matchups all there. I still favor AJ. You know what I mean? In one of his hardest tests since, in my opinion, since he fought Vladimir Klitschko. That's one of his hardest tests. This kid, AJ, both of them was medaled at the 2012 Olympics in London. Usyk won the heavyweight gold medal. Anthony Joshua won the super heavyweight gold medal. Some people didn't think he won it, you know, fair, but he got the decision and he's a gold medalist. So there's so much online. But Usyk, a former undisputed cruiserweight champion. AJ wants to be undisputed heavyweight champion. This is the legacy. This is a legacy thing. Now, it's a funny thing in boxing that these days we talk about legacy, but it really is a defining legacy. If AJ beats him, it's like, oh yeah, he's another AJ opponent. But if Usyk was to win, Usyk beat AJ. It's a big thing. It's funny how people are, man. But this really is a pick 'em fight. Who do you like? Who do you think is going to win? Let me start with Dan the Man. Dan the Man, who do you think is going to win and why?
Hey, first things first, you might hear a little noise in the background, so I apologize for that. I'm picking AJ to win it, but again, it's just one of these fights where it's truly one of those 50-50 fights where you're going to edge it to one. You're going to edge it to one fighter based off the physical attributes, but at the same time, you got the other fighter. Yes, he's a cruiserweight, but he's a very crafty and very, very skillful fighter who's been around the block for many years. He's a decorated amateur. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He's beaten pretty much the big names that we've seen at heavyweight today in the pro ranks. I know the amateurs were a different story, but still, when Usyk beat Joe Joyce, that was in the World Series of Boxing, which is semi-pro. So I guess that should count for something. So I know that Joe Joyce is not Anthony Joshua, or Anthony Joshua is not Joe Joyce. I get it, but Usyk is very skillful, very crafty. He can punch at all different angles. He's got power in both of his hands if he chooses to shoot, sit down in his shot. So, I mean, this is a style that AJ hasn't really seen before. So, The one thing I would say that would kind of somewhat could be bothersome is that AJ is losing probably a little too much weight than he seems. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't mind him losing some of the weight because I guess he's working on cardio and conditioning because that's what's plagued him in some of his fights. But in this instance, it seems like he's getting, he's trimming down probably a little too much. I guess because he wants a box for 12 rounds against Usyk. I don't think he's planning. He's not trained to knock him out because he understands who the opponents that's right in front of him. Yeah, this is a very difficult fight for me to definitively say who's going to win it. So again, I'll favor AJ slightly, but I won't be shocked if Alexander Usyk wins the fight. So nobody should be surprised if he wins. So that's my take on it.
Unrivaled, go ahead. Give us your take, bro.
I'm kind of in complete agreement with Dan. To be perfectly honest, I think this is very hard to read as well because we've only seen AJ trim down and weight properly once against Ruiz, but Ruiz is completely different to Usyk. I mean, he doesn't carry the same foot speed or same levels of head movement or the ability to dissect a guard the way Usyk can. He's also not a southpaw. AJ wants to use that jab and probably go for a long distance fight. But with someone like Usyk, I think everybody is well aware his best attribute. I know a lot of people will say it's his feet or it's his hand speed or his IQ. I think it's his gas tank. And if AJ gets into exchanges and doesn't come out the best, his gas tank could wane first. And that's the key question on the fight for me. I'm thinking AJ is going to win, but I think it's a good probability Usyk can get the upset on the apple cart and shock a lot of people. A lot of people are running around saying he didn't perform well against Chisora. Most people don't. On my scorecard, he won quite handedly. He won 8-4, 9-3 on my scorecard. And a lot of people, that seemed to be the average scorecard, was 8-4. I see even in the chat, and I've seen other channels mention AJ needs to attack Usyk the way Chisora did. And for me, I've never seen AJ do that. AJ is not a come forward, cut the ring off heavyweight. He doesn't have that ability, or at least he's not shown he has that ability to us yet. And with Usyk, that foot speed advantage, if AJ is chasing him, that would kind of go against what AJ's sweet spot is. Which is mid-range counterpunching and dissecting. So I feel as though AJ will win. I don't know exactly how, if it's going to be on points or if it's going to be by a mid-round knockout. But if AJ has to exert himself early against Usyk and Usyk can maintain and get into those mid to late rounds, it could be very bad news very quickly because he throws more punches in rounds 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 than any other heavyweight. And it's by a large margin. So let's just see how it goes.
That's a good point. And you see, and this is why boxing, you bring your strategy in. So this is what I suggest. If AJ wants to win that fight, they need to smash and grab. As he accumulates the punches, the next Usyk, Usyk that's the one to try and get past AJ's reach. So he's the one who's going to be advancing. AJ can use his jab. The moment he gets in close, AJ just ties him up immediately. And, that stops Usyk working inside because, Usyk likes to slide in, with his southpaw and, jump in and out. And if you tie him up, all it does is saps a bit of energy. And then all AJ needs is a stagnant Usyk who doesn't move his head and bombs away Usyk. I don't care how Usyk's tough he is, bro. I don't care how tough you think you are. When AJ hits you, you know what time it is. Now, on the other hand, if Usyk lands one of his bombs on AJ, and AJ's been proven to be wobbled up now, AJ's gonna start doing dance. But this is the thing, right? This is what I'm saying. The taxes he should do, innit? I don't know if he's gonna do it. AJ, if he does the dance, let's tie up Usyk and let's again, like, just lean them. Like, there's really and truly AJ. It's very hard for AJ to lose this fight if he does what he does as being a big man, and Usyk has to work extremely hard, and that's why I feel like the layoff and the timing it's bad for him because he's a rhythm fighter. He gets in there, he needs his rhythm, he needs his movement to get his timing off to do his stuff. And then, because he's been out this long, is he going to come flat-footed? I've seen him be flat-footed and it didn't really work his way. Is he going to come and he needs his movement to get off his shots? And either way he does that, AJ still walks in AJ's hands, man. You know what I'm saying? That AJ just has to be patient. AJ, and especially if you're a champion, you don't care if you win it on points. You don't care if you win a knockout. Just get the W. You know what I mean? Usyk has to say, he's the one who say, I want to win the championship. He has to prove it to everyone else that you're willing to take the championship. So for me, Usyk has to take all the gambling. He has to take all the risks. AJ don't have to do anything. He's the champion. He's the big heavyweight. He's the one drawing a big crowd. He's the one bringing the money in. AJ's sitting comfortably. AJ's getting the fight when he wants to fight. And I know Eddie Hearn didn't want this fight. This whole fight only came about because Fury and AJ fight took so long. And by the time the sanctioning bodies looked at it, he said, well, the date's over. You have to do this fight. I'm sure AJ and Eddie Hearn probably wanted to pay the fight off, but it's worked out good. They got the stadium fight in Tottenham Stadium. The lockdown's finished, you know what I mean? So it's worked out pretty good. A stadium fight is, the country. And remember again, especially in the UK, we haven't had this two reigning heavyweight champions in our history, and hopefully they're going to fight each other. So this is a really big event, really good for boxing. And, all the bad things we've had this year, this one's going to be happening. And I believe Wilder Fury will happen. I heard Fury's in camp. He's training very hard. This is inside source I'm hearing, and he's looking real positive that fight's gonna happen. So for all the naysayers that Fury's gonna pull out, I disagree. I think he'll be there. Fury will be there, and that fight will happen. So fingers crossed that all things work out and we get the unification fight we want. But if Fury doesn't win, then the Wilder and AJ fight has to happen. I don't want Eddie Hearn making no excuses. We got to get our mandatories and we got to get other. I don't want to hear no excuses, man. I don't want to hear no excuses. The undisputed fight needs to happen. We need to have one name, one champion, and that's what we want. You know what I mean? That's what boxing needs in each division. Josh Taylor is the man at 140. Ricky Hatton was never the man in terms of, he was the guy, but he was never undisputed. Josh Taylor's done something that rare few people have done. He's up there with what's his name, Aaron Pryor and all them other great fighters. Josh Taylor, all it is, Josh Taylor needs a legacy. He needs a legacy fight. That's why he wanted to fight Tank Davis. That's where they're talking about him and Terence Crawford. Josh Taylor is doing what boxers do. You work hard to get the undisputed, and then you defend it against great other champions. That's what boxing needs. You know what I mean? That's what we're used to. That's the history of boxing. So, fair play to Usyk and AJ stepping up, both champions in their own right, and we're gonna get a great fight. My prediction is AJ wins the fight by I want to say stoppage, but Usyk's hard to stop. But I'll give it. AJ wins the fight by a 9th round stoppage on Usyk. You know what I mean? Either his corner throws a towel in or something like that. And that's what I got. So I got AJ winning that fight. Fury and Wilder, that's a whole different ball game. I think Fury be motivated. He's definitely bring the weight down, and I think Fury probably might win that fight. Initially, I picked Wilder, but Wilder's been in camp so bloody long. But people say it's good to work with Malik and that. But he's been in camp so long, I think it's worked in Fury's case that he's motivated now. He's just had his daughter. He's got that all out the way. There's nothing else in front of him, so I think that fight will happen. So
I hope Wilder knocks his head off his neck.
Yeah?
I hope he does. I hope he does.
Talking it.
It's just, look, as much as I'm not the biggest fan of Wilder, Fury pisses me off even more, man. This feels, to me, he's the biggest charlatan in the sport. He just constantly brings up all this shit and it never happens. Just never happens. And I have no faith. I have no faith in him fighting AJ if he were to beat Wilder. He's already talking about tune-ups and defenses and all this stuff, and saying, "Oh, he's the greatest heavyweight. He doesn't need Joshua." I mean, look, man. If he was going to fight him, he would have dropped the belt and fought him. It didn't need the belt. It didn't need the belt. But there you go. So, and whereas with Wilder, I don't know. Wilder could retire if he beats Fury. He could retire if he loses. He could continue on either way, right? I don't really know. I kind of just want to see an upheaval in the heavyweight division. And in a weird way, it would be absolutely hilarious if Usyk were to knock out Joshua. and Wilder were to knock out Fury, and them two were to unify for undisputed just to piss everybody off.
Would you like that, though? But Usyk, well, if he was to win the belt, brother, it's like, is he gonna fight? Is he saying he's gonna fight Wilder, all that stuff, and is he gonna fight Fury? Is Usyk come across like that? Is he that type of guy to go straight into that fight after?
He's already been an undisputed champion. He's been trying to push his mandatory since he came into the division.
So are you saying that he's gonna take the fight with Wilder or Fury after?
Yeah, I think he would. I mean, when he was asked on Sky Sports, "Do you want to be a heavyweight champion?" He said, and I quote, "No, not heavyweight champion, undisputed heavyweight champion." He wants to equal Evander, bro. That's what he wants to do.
Equal Evander. About equal Evander, man.
In terms of being the only person to do that, EJ.
Oh, you talk about cruiserweight and undisputed. I got you. Cruiser, undisputed, heavyweight. I got you. But look, the thing is, is AJ fighting the best guys that he could be facing? He's fighting the guys with the names and stuff like that. But the names, what we want to fight is a hyperlink. If Usyk was to win and he went straight in and said, "I'll take Wilder or Fury straight away," you're right. You're right. It would get more talking. But I just don't, bruh. You know what? Like, I wouldn't say for the UK, I said over the UK. I just don't think for years, the England boxing or people in the UK been dying. Frank Bruno, Lennox Lewis had it, but most people, he was born in East London, but it weren't the same. These guys are homegrown guys, man. They're homegrown guys. The belt leaving the capital, the capital city, where the amateurs was like, obviously, I'm in the amateur scene, leaving horrendously backlash, bad. It's bad.
Oh yeah, no, it must suck. It would suck if that were to happen for the UK. But here's the thing: I'm not in the UK, right?
I know,
and I just want to see an undisputed fucking fight take place. And I actually think there's more chance of Usyk and Wilder actually fighting each other because I think they both think they could beat each other than AJ and Fury or AJ and Wilder, because I think there's just too much politics going on there. I can see Roy Abinsky and World of Boxing sending Usyk over onto Fox on a pay-per-view for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world with Wilder. I can see that.
Yeah. So what's your prediction in the fight then?
For which one?
Both of them, bro. Usyk, AJ, and Fury.
I've got AJ and I've got Fury, but I want to see the other two win.
Oh, okay.
Well, pretty much this is like you're thinking with your mind, but not you're not thinking. Your heart tells you something different. But
if I were to pick with my heart, man, boxing would be in a completely different place if every decision went the way I wanted it to.
Right. Fair point to make. But you know what? Perhaps it probably would be best if Usyk wins because maybe we'll see things a lot more fights happen if he's the champion. I don't know. I mean, when I mean be the champion, just my opinion, maybe, because he is proven to fight all comers in his division. So, and I was at cruiserweight, so he could do that here in heavyweight. Because I mean, look at it. Usyk has been around the block for many years. He's beaten guys who are just twice as big as he was, and he beat those guys. So, I just think maybe again it would be best if he was a champion and see how things go. That's just my opinion.
The only problem with that situation is, doesn't AJ have a rematch clause if he loses?
He does. It's one way. And it's funny though, because you mentioned that, because when Usyk's manager was talking about that, they seem very confident that we're going to see its second fight after September 25th. He's very confident that AJ is going to lose that fight and he's going to book that rematch. So
to Alexander Krashuk?
Yep.
The same Alexander Krashuk, right?
That's the one.
I just want to say that was very, very, very confident in Edward Troyanovsky beating Julius Ndongo.
Well, look, you can't get it right all the time, but I'm just saying he seems very confident. But it is what it is. But we'll see. We'll see how this plays out.
I think promoters are supposed to be confident in their guys, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like Eddie Hearn was talking, remember, with Dave Allen? Oh, he's going to beat David Price and then he'll fight Povetkin and then the AJ fights next. I mean, come the fuck on, man.
I mean, it looks like Bob Arum says that Pulev was going to knock out Joshua. So, you're right.
Yeah. Hey,
right
hey,
to-
hey, Eddie Hearn lost Canelo. Eddie Hearn, you see Eddie when they asked Eddie Hearn about Canelo, how his face just turns another color. It's hilarious. But you know the funny thing about it, even more than hilarious than that, Eddie Hearn live on camera goes, Fury said something about it. He goes, well, Fury's most, I got more. Me and Fury got something in common. We both got no title defenses. I said,
Oh
whoa.
wow!
I said,
That was
wow.
I
said,
don't even
wow.
think that's funny because he stole that.
I know he did.
I said that on my channel a year ago.
I know that's you know he came.
Everybody's
That
been
came from
saying
social.
that.
Everyone said that. Yeah, everyone's been saying he got it from social media,
It took
100%.
him 3 years to get it.
But the funny thing about it when he said it, you know, yo, I said, my gosh. So everyone's riding through, and you know the thing about it about the title defense. I don't really care about the title defenses, you know, because Wilder. Look, when Wilder was doing title defenses, look how they ran him. Oh, you fighting bums? Where you gonna fight a real guy? I was like, bro, the guy's active. He's busy knocking out the stiffs and knocking out who's in front of him. And now Fury ain't got no title defenses. Oh, when you get title defenses, hold on. What you got one guy doing the title defenses? You got one guy not doing the title. You're still criticizing. Yo, when are you guys gonna be happy? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like these,
So,
bro. Go ahead.
DJ, title defenses is very relative when to the circumstance of the defense, right? So both Wilder and Joshua have a couple of opponents in common in their defenses. One of them is Dominic Breazeale, right? Fury
Yeah.
beat a man who beat Dominic Breazeale, didn't he? Otto Wallin?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. What I'm saying,
I
people are
mean,
not
look,
happy.
that type of
People are
shit
never
don't
happy
matter.
though. People are never. I'm trying to make the point. People are never happy. What I'm saying is that this guy does title defenses. He's a bum. Fury never done title defenses. He's supposed to be a nobody. But like, what people not understanding is like these guys are doing everything to entertain us, right? That's what they're there for. Vicarious supposed to entertain us. You're sitting there and you're criticizing. Just bloody enjoy the fights. Enjoy. Why can't we just enjoy the fights? We're getting too overly in this political realm and then getting depressed. Like every time I talk to hear people, oh, boxing's going down, it's bad. I was like, yo, just don't watch it, bro. Because I'm on the amateur scene and there's next up and coming talent coming through. That's why boxing is the best sport ever. We always have a thriving amateurs and we always get next guys coming through. Now, obviously in America, they're into obviously basketball, American football, baseball, and maybe boxing might come after that because there's some other sports they get more money and less damage, right? But at the same time, yeah, you know, there's always guys coming through. So rather than people being a critic, like they, you know, back in the day, Joe Lewis, they called Joe Lewis, was it the bum of month, the bum of the month? That's what they said about his opponents. But you look on the caliber of the opponents, they weren't bums. They wasn't bums. They were like former world champions.
Doesn't Joe Lewis have 8 Hall of Fame wins?
Yeah, 25, bruv. How many Hall of Fame, but how many 25 defenses? And they just, you know, it's just over. You know what I'm trying to say? Rocky Marciano, oh, he's a bum. He never fought no one, fought everyone over the hill, but he was on the field. And I'm trying to say to you, people need to stop, man. When's someone going to stop and say, what you're doing, you're killing the sport? You know, HBO in their last days, and I didn't miss them when they were going because when they were going out, they was just trying to kill the sport. Everyone has been trying to say it's dying. The only one's dying is you. Yeah, you're the only one's dying. The boxing will always be there as an entertainment, another career, and that's with all these exhibitions you see or so-called exhibitions and stuff like that. Yo, if there's a demand, go watch them. If they're not, don't get upset. Oh, I feel really bad, like because you just like your guy winning all the time and he's lost. You know what I mean? So my thing is this, yeah. People need to stop trying to Eddie Hearn, especially him. He, you know, like he's never been a fighter. Who are you to tell Fury about how many title defenses? Who are you who's never stepped in the ring about him?
Look,
and I criticize Fury as well. But Eddie Hearn, he hasn't got the right to say anything, in my opinion. Go ahead.
Look, here's a question for Eddie Hearn, right? And it's as simple as this. And to anybody who brings up the title defenses, how many world titles have you won?
Eddie Hearn, none, zero.
Yeah. How many has Fury won?
Oh, he's won like two, three. I don't know. He's won quite a bit.
I'll give it to you like this.
Linear. He won. What's it? Unified.
Look, Dan can correct me if I'm wrong. Fury has held every major belt.
Yeah, he's the second heavyweight in history to do that behind Riddick Bowe. So yeah, Fury's done that.
Fury's the only heavyweight in history, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Riddick Bowe was the first.
No. I'm bringing up something different. He's the only heavyweight in history to beat 2 champions who had 10 or more title defenses for their titles. Yes or no?
Yeah, and they called
Yeah, you're probably right.
Vladimir's tower defense. They said he was a bum as well. They didn't even want him on American Network TV. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that bum's in the Hall of Fame, isn't it?
Insane, and it's the same one that Fury's basing his legacy off. The same bum. You know what I mean? If without Vladimir, Fury can't base his legacy on. And how many people do we know fight guys in reigning champions and take their belt from them? Because that's where the lineage goes. Because he from Vladimir and so forth, and who before him, and so that's what Tyson Fury claimed. But Tyson Fury talking about the old timers keeps boxing relevant. What do you say? Since John L. Sullivan. Now, whether you think he's chatting shit or up, but the thing is, he's bigging up the old timers and the youngsters. Like, who's this John L. Sullivan? Who's he talking about? So they go back and look at John L. Sullivan,
the Monopoly.
Yeah, like, but Fury comes in and brings the history. Wilder comes in and brings the drama. The black man's being oppressed. The black man ain't getting it. It's like, all right, okay, all right. And
Wilder's funny, you know.
Wilder, listen,
really,
bro.
Wilder
is a character. He bringing in, 1 minute I'm a god, I'm a king. You know what I mean? And the Fury's like, yeah, and all of them are bringing in some sort of thing about their personality. But the bottom line, people misunderstanding. They're so involved in picking sides. This is entertainment. This is just here to make us go through life in this life, in this paradigm. That's all this is. Don't get so involved in it. The drug taking is a very serious thing though, because that's involving, in hurting people. That's very serious. I take that very seriously. And the way people are just brushing underneath the rug, that's not. Billy Joe Saunders in that situation got away with it as well. Like that fight got pulled down, him and Andrade. How come that guy got postponed and this one, it's different commissions and Boston was a bit more stricter than the other commission where he was. I was like, oh man, that's why boxing in different states in America, they can get away with things. That's the way America is. In the UK, you can't do that. We have one British border boxer and that runs the whole of the UK, and that's it. They make a decision, and that's final. That shit wouldn't go on. If that was over here, yeah, I think he would have got reprimanded. I don't know how much, but probably a fine. But I don't know if they stripped his belt. Maybe not.
Can I just ask you all a question? Right. You two have been watching boxing longer than me because you're older than me, right?
That don't mean nothing, Dad. That don't mean nothing.
I'm just going to draw on some wisdom. Right. What would you rather? Would you rather have a title defense over Arthur Spielke or a win away from home against Deontay Wilder?
Dan, go ahead, Dan.
I guess I say a win over Deontay Wilder away from home. That's just my opinion.
If you were the fighter, that's what you would want, isn't it, Dan?
Absolutely, because that'd be more of a significant win than fight Spilka. I'm just being honest, because Wilder is a defending champion. I'm sorry?
You'd want that win over Wilder over every defense that Wilder has, right? Or you'd want it over every defense AJ has. Except maybe the Klitschko one, because that's kit and caboodle right there, really.
Right. Like I said, I don't know, it's a gray area, but again, I'll probably pick the Wilder one over that one. I mean, as far as the AJ going out on the road to beating AJ, at this point, that'd probably be more significant Wilder because obviously AJ has the better wins than Wilder. So
no, I'm talking about the defenses that AJ, right? So AJ has all these defenses, and Wilder has all these defenses, right?
Right.
To me, if I look at all of Wilder's resume in terms of the defenses, the Luis Ortiz twice, right? You can count the draw with Fury, and all the other ones, the Staverns, the Molinas, the Brazils, the Hapas. I'd rather have one knockout victory away from home against Deontay Wilder than that entire thing. I'd rather have it.
Yeah, I agree. I probably would rather have that too, because I mean, think about it. Regardless of what you say about Wilder, the odds are against you. People don't think you could beat him. So in this instance, Fury got that win, and he's got to get credit for that. So
I'd rather a win over Klitschko than a win over Parker plus Povetkin plus Dillian White, because that win means more.
Yeah, because it does in a way, because Vladimir was undefeated for over a decade. He was on verge of breaking Joe Louis's heavyweight record. So yeah, he was already a Hall of Fame fighter at that point.
Yeah, let me jump in this one, right? So you said about Spilka or the win away against Wilder. Well, I'll tell you this, and this is always my category, and it will stay there, which is more entertaining. When it comes down to it, which is the one that stands out in your mind? Now, if I put it in that perspective, I'd have to say Arthur Spilker versus Wilder, because that shit, I thought that guy died on TV, and that shit still stays with me up to now. I remember watching it. One girl, I thought I saw someone live get killed on TV. That's what I thought. Now, in terms of boxing history and all the other things in it, what stands out, your career, resume, then you have to be the other one. But for me, it was the Spilker shit, man. That shit was wicked. That shit was wicked. I loved it. In fact, if I saw that again, I don't think I'd ever see that in my lifetime again. Where I saw a man just laying on the canvas, and it was like, is this guy dead? You had to tell me you didn't think that we actually saw someone died since bloody Benny, what's his name? Benny Kid Barrett versus Emil Griffiths, that you saw someone die on TV where the guy literally died, slumped down and just dead. So for me, the Spilker shit. And when it will always be them categories when it comes to these fighters and these championship. What do you remember about what they did in the ring, and what did they did it? How did they do it? And Wilder was bringing that kind of bringing that heat. Now, when him and Fury got together, that was magic, man. That was magic, because even Fury getting up like the Undertaker, you know what I mean? Wilder knocking him down. Wilder Fury was out boxing him. That's sick. And then the second fight, who'd ever expect Fury just rolled up and knocked him down? So they all it's amalgamation of everything together. You know what I mean? Not one thing taken away from the other, or I'd rather have one over the other. Like, it depends on what critique or style. But to me, it's always going to be about what happened in the ring. You know what I mean? Mayweather, I told Dan and Mayweather and Pacquiao, I can't remember, it was Joker Boxing years ago, I want to see Mayweather and Pacquiao. I go, why? Oh, because I want to see it, because everyone, they don't want to happen. I said, how do you know it's going to be a good fight? Oh, it doesn't matter. I go, it does? How do you know it's going to be a good fight? You don't know it's going to be a good fight. We want to fight with like Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Everyone wants to see it, right? Because it's the last one, the last kind of fight. You want to see the last fight that they can fight each other, right? But no one knows it's going to be a good fight. Give me a good fight, a great fight. Give me a fight that's going to sit there like Hagler and Hearns or Roberto Duran, and give me a fight that's going to you can watch year in, year out, every day on a Wednesday. Give me them sort of fights. I'll watch them fight. So that's what it comes to me. In the Spilker fight, I ain't watched it recently. I might watch it after this live, bro. But that shit was crazy, bro. Now, Spilker didn't turn into anyone, but, bro, he got put on Wilder's hit list. And Wilder made a claim for himself that this guy here, if he hit you, you were banging trouble. So that's my answer to that. I'll pick Arthur Spilker and thing. And it's always going to be entertainment. To me, entertainment. Feel entertainment. Not like I wasn't entertained by Wilder and Fury, but for pure this drama, like, I ain't never seen that before, man. I ain't never seen a guy, unless you guys can recall something for me. But that's how it is for me.
I've seen plenty of knockouts that I think are a bit worse than that, but I seen one the other day. Petaway against, what was his name?
Simon Brown.
That's the one.
Yeah.
You have to dig in. You have to dig in, See,
Errol Graham versus Julian the Hawk Jackson.
He was laying, he just, bro, that was sleep. His lips were still moving.
What about Mir Mansour when he did to Fred Cassie?
Cool. Shit. Well, Manny Pacquiao versus Marquez stands another one. And Manny looked like he's dead. Manny wasn't moved. Manny was lifeless though, so that's another one. Like, see what I'm trying to say? You see, now it goes into what do you actually like in the ring. You know what I mean? That's what I said. We sometimes get caught up in this political thing, and these guys should get their credit. But there's so many times we're taking away credit in terms of our standard. But the standard with the belts and all that stuff, it's all that's all to show you're the best and stuff like that. But there's really, really and truly like that. You always got a guy, and this is why boxing's gone away from the contenders, the guys who earn the right to get to that shot. They're that when it comes to the matchmaking, they're not matched for you to beat. That's why Wilder and Usyk is such a hard fight, because if Eddie Hearn could duck Usyk, he would. Hell yeah, he would. But Usyk has earned the right for what he did in the cruiserweight division, and thus far to earn the right to fight AJ. So that's what is the box. That's why boxing is always going to be the best sport. If you're matchmaking, you're not doing this fight here. This is not a fight AJ would match. He's matchmaker. This is a fight. This guy earned the right to fight you, and that's why it's a real fight. That's why it's going to be a fight that it needs that magnitude in Tottenham. We're going to see AJ get finished off, or we're going to see Usyk AJ get finished off, or we're going to see Usyk reign. You know what I mean? Or you know what I'm saying? So that's why it's a good fight, and that's why boxing is really good. I mean, people get paid through the rankings. That's what everyone says. But at the end of the day, you're a matchmaker, and if you match people properly, these guys can win forever. But when it comes to mandatories and stuff like that, or title defenses, that can go either way. This can.
I will say one thing. 9 times out of 10, mandatories are worse than voluntaries these days. To be honest, EJ, 9 times out of 10, they're like Jack Catterall.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Who's he fighting? He's fighting against
Josh Taylor versus Jack.
Yeah, he doesn't. What has he done to get the right? But that's because Frank Warren pushed him up the ranking. Is it WBO, right? That's what the WBO ranking, isn't it? It must be. Yeah. Frank Warren, and that guy, they worked together in the 90s. For whatever reason, Frank Warren always gets his fight WBO rankings. He gets them high up on the rankings.
Same with Bob. The Warren Boxing Organization and the World Bob Organization, the WBO.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. Eddie Hearn and the IBF do pretty well business. They've been doing pretty well, but these guys get them. But this guy doesn't earn the right. This guy doesn't deserve a title shot. He hasn't done nothing, not done anything to say, oh, this guy's a definitely a contender. He's just getting his fight, but that's not a thing. Voluntaries are still match made by your matchmaker.
He struggled with O'Hara, bro.
Exactly. Well, he struggled with thing as well. What did he say? I think he fought thing as well. Jeff Olafori as well from Izzy. He struggled with him as well. Like, he didn't deserve a title shot. But he's a fan favorite, and Frank's gonna give him a title shot. I think Frank promised him a title shot, and the kids, that's what the kids work hard for in his dreams. Maybe good luck to him, but I don't know how he beats Josh Taylor, bro. He's just on his game, man. Josh Taylor's just been to America. He's a seasoned guy, man. He's just a very hard guy to beat. Josh Taylor. He's on his game, but you never know.
Where is Chorley?
Where is Shorley?
Yeah, the place Chorley. Chorley.
Shorley, that sounds like in East London. Is that Shorley in East London?
No, I'm looking at it right now. So he's a fan favorite north of Wigan.
There you go. That's the rugby
north
country.
Of Wigan. There's probably about 2 people living there.
Hey, listen, he brings a crowd.
Oh no, he's surrounded by some big places. He's surrounded by Preston, Blackburn, and Bolton. Okay.
Yeah, he brings a crowd, man. He brings a crowd. Frank, is a crowd pleasing fighter. Well, no, he's not really crowd pleasing, but he brings a crowd and he's getting his title shot. But anyways, other news. What other news? We haven't caught up for a while. So what other news? Oscar De La Hoya lying about the COVID. Is he lying about COVID or was that legit? Someone will comment on that.
Look, I mean, he did film a video of him in the hospital bed. I don't know. I can't say he is lying, but at the same time, I just think they need to show medical records because it just appears to me that whenever a fight's coming up, all these guys are turning up positive and the fight's getting called off. And what's sad thing about it is that they don't have to show proof of proof of a medical record to show that they tested positive. So I guess what I'm looking for is there needs to be some transparency when it comes to situations like this. I can't say Oscar is lying, but some say it is a bit suspect that he made that video. But it is what it is, man. I really don't have much of an opinion on it.
I'm not doing too well, but I'll come back stronger and better in that fight. Oh my God! Right, look, Dan, EJ, how far can I go in terms of crudeness?
You go ahead.
I can go as far as I want in crudeness. Right. I've got a question for Dan. Dan, what's more likely? This dude legit has COVID, or the reason he's in hospital is due to an anal prolapse?
Ooh.
Probably the second option. Anal prolapse.
I think that's the truth. Fishnets has an anal prolapse. He shot himself when he saw that TRT Belfort was on steads like a motherfucker, and he's like, "Yeah, I got COVID." That's what I think happened, man. He's pure bullshit.
Yeah, he probably knew what he was up against.
Let's just say one thing. If you're hospitalized because of COVID, if you're actually hospitalized because of COVID, right, you're not going to be clear of breath while talking on a video.
That's a very good point. Why wasn't he on a ventilator when he made that video? Interesting.
If you've got COVID and you're hospitalized due to COVID, you are fucked up because they won't even let you into hospitals unless you're fucked up with COVID.
See it there?
He bullshit.
People got hot, but you see his house is so big. He probably had that, especially got in his house. You know what I mean?
Possibly.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, probably
in his
had a
house.
design. Yeah, he probably
It's
had a set
probably one of
designer
it.
put that together.
Yeah.
Probably
He probably got. He's probably got one
set
downstairs.
designer.
He's got the whole thing set in his house. He's got that house.
That's a
He's got a big
playroom.
mansion. Pardon?
That's a playroom for when some of the prozzies come over and he's like, hey, we're gonna play doctor.
You're deep,
You
know.
know?
No. I looked
Here's
at it. I
the
said,
speculum.
Oscar, you're deep, you know, because like you put, and then if no one's really blaming Oscar set up Evander, bro. But Evander, who advised Evander to take that fight, man? When I
Evander
thought about the
advised
fight, I
himself
thought
to
it
take that fight.
stylistically it'll be a good fight, but it really wasn't, because you take a fight on short notice and I was talking to one of the amateur coaches. He took a fight. Now listen to this situation there, right? He took a fight. Both fighters were supposed to be undefeated, right? When he gets there, he realized that a guy took a fight the week before. So now he's thinking, should I take the fight? Should I not? They get on the scales, and to me, the other guy looked heavier. He looked heavier. Or I mean, whatever weight they weighed in, he said they weighed in the same. I said, all right. But I said to me, when I saw them in the ring, I said, this guy looks significantly heavier. They're the same age, but my man's had a bout last week. Said experience, and that little bout he had, experience, got him winning the fight. And I said to him, why did you take it? You found, they're supposed to be undefeated. You can't have a guy who's had one fight more. And now everyone's like, only one fight more. Well, one fight more means more experience than your guy, because his guy started off fast, and the other guy, he took his time, and in the second half of the fight, he started putting hands on him, bro. There were two heavyweights, by the way. And I said to him, well, that made a difference, and that's what you're seeing in some of these things here. Oscar De La Hoya pulled out of the fight with Vito, but he would have, Oscar would have got banged up, bro. He would have got banged over. Like, I'm looking at Vito Belfort, I'm like, nah. He would have blitzed Oscar De La Hoya. In fact, Oscar would have had a better chance though, but Oscar would have got hurt, man. He would have got hurt, and poor Evander for that to take the beat. What was that?
I would have preferred to see that, because Evander just never should have been there. Like, they had to change the location of the event just to let Evander be the replacement opponent. Because Florida would sanction me versus Maria Sharapova in a bare knuckle to the death. They would. Yeah. If they thought they could make money out of that, they would.
Yeah. Hey, Miami. That's why Floyd and the thingy kid, that was in Miami, because no one else would take it against Jake Paul, not Logan Paul. That's why that moved to Miami, because Las Vegas said we ain't taking that clown shit. So certain states in America, they don't actually want that kind of stuff in there. But is this? Hey, let's talk about Usyk and AJ. Is this gonna? Oh, what's up, Kyle? Salute, bro. Hey, what would you guys? What's up, Mr. Jones? Mr. Jones, do you guys actually think this is actually going to be a good fight, a great fight? AJ and Usyk, do you actually think it's going to be a fight that we're going to sit back and talk about? Or is it going to? It could be a controversial fight, on the scorecards where you go either way, and then we're like, oh, I should have a rematch. What do you guys think? Do we need a controversial ending to this fight, or we need like, you need something clear and cut that one winner? What do you think?
I'll go first. I think it's going to be a somewhat dull affair that has moments. The reason I think that is I think AJ is going to look to be very cagey in there with Usyk. I don't think he's going to want to. He has looked a bit more timid in his approach since the Ruiz fight, the first one. I know it's only been 2 fights, Pulev and Ruiz too, but he wasn't as keen to be in exchanges, and he wasn't keen to sit down on any of his shots fully until he had his opponents hurt. So I don't think we're going to have anything super exciting. I think AJ is going to try and dictate at long range, lead Usyk around the ring. The moments will probably be created when Usyk gets to cut off the ring and land some shots, and AJ may catch him with a check here or there and momentarily stun him. But I don't see AJ rushing in. I see him biding his time and keeping on the defensive and slowly trying to whittle down Usyk to where he can take over and win the fight on points. It's kind of how I see it going. Maybe there could be controversy, but if Usyk has one of those moments go completely in his favor, it could completely turn the fight in his favor. But I'm predicting it to be a very cagey, somewhat timid affair from both guys for at least 4 or 5 rounds, because Usyk's not a fast starter, and I don't see AJ wanting to blow his gas tank early. So I'd say if you miss the first 4 rounds of this fight, you'll be good, to be honest.
Oh,
you'd be good.
Wow. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I may have to agree with Mark on that one. I don't expect it. Yeah, I don't expect this to be an explosive heavyweight fight because the way Joshua's training right now, he's training to go 15, 12 rounds with Usyk. He's not trying to knock this guy out. That's the way I see it right now. He knows who, again, as I stated earlier, he knows who he's up against. He knows if he wastes all his shots early against a guy like Usyk, it's going to plague him. He knows that he's going to be in a perilous situation with Usyk if he does that. So I expect this to be cagey. I expect this to be a very cautionary fight. To be fair, Usyk fights in a cautionary situation himself, but he's more methodical. He seems to be more. He's more calculated in that ring, in my opinion, as far as ring IQ than Joshua, in my view. So I think for the most part, he'll dictate how the fight goes. And Joshua, on the other hand, he's going to be very cautious. He's going to try to figure out his range. He's going to start thinking twice whether I should go for it against this guy or not. As Mark had pointed out on Rivals, that that Ruiz loss is still hanging on the back of Joshua's head. He hasn't quite gotten over that, in my opinion. Yes, he's overcame it and he beat Ruiz in the rematch, but ever since that first loss, he's fought in a very cautionary position ever since. So, yeah, I think, it's just one of these fights that you don't know what's going to really happen. I just think that Joshua's losing a little too much weight. I think that's going to be detrimental to him going in against Usyk. That's just my take.
Yeah, well, we'll have to find out. What's Jimmy saying? AJ will use his size and Olympic tactics to outbox Usyk. As AJ trains for speed and stamina to fight, Usyk has to put his muscles for a tough fight. A battle of the champions, Olympics. Yeah, that's what I said. Olympians, the legacy fight. There you go. That's what I'm saying, Jimmy. Legacy fight. It is, man. Real talk. It's got so many facets to the game. You're right about the cautiousness and everything like that. I think when there's like millions and millions of dollars on the line, I think you become cautious as well. You know what I mean? But I think at some point, as the rounds he gets a bit more comfortable and gets more on it. And AJ's been fighting top tier competition, not the very best, but top tier competition for the longest, bro. So this is another one. Usyk to me still has to prove himself that he can do anything at heavyweight. You know what I mean? Questions are still there at heavyweight. He definitely can fight and win in some bouts, but he has to bust a gut just to win. And he's slightly older than AJ. But he's fighting. I'll tell you, he's gonna be in great shape. I don't know who his trainer is. It Lomachenko's dad or whatever. But
it's Popachenko.
Yeah, but bear in mind this. Usyk, yeah, and this is nothing. Usyk is, as I mentioned about AJ, Usyk has had fights that in the World Boxer Series that were laid out for him to win. Like there's never in a fight that I thought, oh, Usyk might lose it. This is a fight he knows that he could lose this fight. There's stylistically a matchup. And Usyk wants this challenge because he sees AJ's fragilities. He said, yeah, I've seen him up in Vladimir's camp. I've seen him close. I think I can beat him. He believes he can beat him. But a lot of people do that until you get in there with his small gloves and you see this big guy in front of you and he ain't going nowhere. This is a fight will test their will, stamina, and power. This is legitly going to be one great fight. Great fight. Great.
Well, to be fair,
EJ.
can I say something on Rive real quick? To be fair,
ahead.
Usyk was not supposed to beat Derek Chisora. Let's want to throw that out there. He wasn't. No, on the cards, look, I'm saying on the bookies, yeah, he was favored to win.
There you go. He's a favorite. There you go.
But what I'm saying is that going into the fight, the ring size, the glove issue, that came up. That was
scorecards.
Scorecards too. Yeah, it was kind of like it was sabotage for him to lose that fight. I'm just letting you know.
I'm just saying that when going into the fight, he was a favorite. He ain't never been in a fight where he's not supposed to win. He's supposed to win. Yeah,
he wasn't the favorite against Gassiev.
Man, listen. What he wasn't the favorite? Who was supposed?
No, they were evens.
Man, well, listen. Anyone know anything about? I don't know who this Gassiev was before this fight. Like, who did he beat before this fight? Before fighting
Dorticus,
he beat Ledebev.
Okay, who?
He beat
I
Ledebev.
I don't rate these guys. I don't rate these guys because
but you called that fight. You called.
I know,
that
but
fight.
I don't rate. I know. But what I'm
Did
saying,
you rated Gassiev to beat Usyk?
No. Listen. In the cruiserweight division, Guillermo Jones, Dennis Lebedev, Marco Huck. Yeah, I rate them guys. Now he beat.
Well, yeah. Guess what? Wait,
I know. Yeah. Usyk. Yes, Usyk beat them. Gassiev.
No. Gassiev
beat Lebedev.
He beat Lebedev.
All right. But listen to this, right? And also know there was the guy who beat the it was the other guy. What's his name again? The Nigerian guy as well. He was another one as well, and the Junior Carbo. Junior Carbo, Daradola, Junior Carbo. None of all them guys, I've seen them put work in and did. These other guys, yeah, they were built in. Usyk was supposed to be the tournament. Yes, he was. I don't hear what none of you have to say. He was the favorite to win the tournament. So what I'm trying to say to you is that in every fight he's been, this is a fight where he has to know that looking at this guy, you're not the favorite, bro. Like, this is a real, and the only thing he has, though, but he has been in Vladimir's camp, and he's seen Anthony Joshua, and he's seen his demeanor. And that's, and I saw Vladimir at the time said, we can beat this guy, man. We've seen him. Mr. Bashir said as much as well. We've seen AJ. I wrapped his hands. I know everything about AJ. You know what I mean? So Vladimir, all that information. The only thing with Vladimir wasn't too sure. He's not a very confident guy. Jonathan Banks is not too sure. You know what I mean? The only one's positive in that corner was Vitaly. But Vitaly gave him the worst instruction ever. After Vladimir knocked him down, he told him, "Nah, take your time, you'll get him again." Because that's what Vitaly likes. He likes to punish people. But Vitaly, but what he should have did, he should have jumped on him. So Usyk going into this fight, he ain't supposed to win this fight. He isn't. So, if he overcomes this, listen, this guy, whoa, this is something. It will be something. I'm telling you, this will be something. This is gonna be a great fight. What's Jimmy saying? AJ, if he wins, yeah, this will be better than Lennox Lewis over Vander Holyfield. Hell no, don't do that. Don't do that. Usyk's younger and undefeated. No. It's not.
No, this the same dude who was trying to say that to me and Beats the other day, man. Get out of here with that bullshit.
What did he say to you and Beats the other day? What did
he say? He kept asking, "Oh, would it be a better win if AJ were to beat Usyk than Lennox's win over Evander Holyfield?" No.
No, it isn't. Sorry, Jimmy.
Evander was an undisputed heavyweight champion and an undisputed cruiserweight champion. Yes. He was a champion going into that fight, and he became a champion after that fucking fight. Usyk's never even Usyk has a win over who a heavyweight? Cesaro? Get out of here. Lennox has a win over an all-time great heavyweight.
Well, Lennox has wins over 3 all-time great heavyweights. Vitaly.
Yeah, but I'm talking about that specifically. That fight specifically.
Okay. Well, yeah, Jimmy, come on, man. That's stretching it out. That's taking it too far. That's a bridge too far.
That's fanboyism at its finest, man. That really is.
Look, what I'm just saying is AJ beating Usyk would be a great win, but on a scale of Lewis beating Holyfield, not even close. Not close, bro. Sorry.
Hey, Mark, let me ask you a question. What happened to Sonny Edwards' fight? How come that fight didn't go down?
He injured his ankle, allegedly.
He's full of shit. He was going to get battered. That guy doesn't deserve that belt, And
to be fair, Jason Mama sucks. He'll beat him on points. It's Ricardo Sandoval that's his next mandatory after that because he's got 2 because there was a backlog due to COVID. So if he comes through Mama, which he should, the Filipino cat, Ricardo Sandoval just laid out Jay Harris. Y'all know Harris, right?
No.
So Jay Harris went the distance with Julio Cesar Martinez and gave him a war. That was on the undercard of Jesse Vargas versus Mikey Garcia.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go on.
Yeah. It was one of the best fights that year. Harris performed in it. He was a former world title contender. Sandoval fought against Harris recently enough, and he beat the crap out of him, bro. That's a dangerous mandatory for Sonny. So he'll be after the Mama fight.
Well, Sonny just got the belt on loan. That's the way I see it. You know what I mean? And even though you say that guy wouldn't fight him, Sonny, they made up an excuse to get Sonny out of there. They're like, yo, say that we're injured. That's what Frank Warren's been putting that one for the longest. And Tony Yoko fought on the weekend. He won, and then also Filip Hovovich, he won his fight as well. You know what I mean? And they're talking about Filip Hovovich, the most avoided guy in boxing. Apparently, they offered the fight to Dillian, and Dillian turned the fight down.
Hrgovic, they offered the fight to everybody inside the top 15 in the IBF, and everybody turned it down. They offered it to everybody except for Usyk because he's already got a mandatory shot, and everybody rejected it.
Oh, this guy's going in. And
no, he's just a fanboy. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, he's a fanboy of Joshua.
He's a fanboy of Joshua.
Yeah, he's trying to, because look at the way he's wording everything.
Well, can I address it? Yeah, can I address that real quickly, McGregor? Jimmy, you kind of set yourself up there because AJ just beat Klitschko, who was knocked out
prior to that, coming off a loss off of an 18-month layoff, okay, nearly got knocked out in that fight. Evander was only 35 or 36 years old when he fought, or 37 years old when he fought Lennox Lewis, okay? As Mark had pointed out, is that Evander already beat Mike Tyson, 2 wins against Mike Tyson, 1 win over Michael Moore. He was a unified champion going into that fight against Lennox Lewis, who was arguably the favorite to win it. So what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, but go ahead. Sorry, I have to just point that out. But go ahead.
Hey,
All
by the way,
it was
go ahead,
37. It
yeah.
was
By the way,
37.
I got a poll. Yeah. By the way, I got a poll. Yeah. David Haye versus Tyson Fury. So this is what I put. I'll watch the fight. 20%. No way I'm paying for it. 10%. The Haye needs to go and sit down. Go and sit down somewhere. 36%. I don't care. 36%. So basically, there's no demand for that fight between David Haye and Tyson Fury. No one wants to see it. Absolutely not really interested at all. David Haye can talk that talk all he wants, but no one really wants to see David Haye in the ring at this point. Nah. So that's what I say. Yeah. We got Salute Bonku. What's his name? What's your name? How you pronounce your name? Bonku. Yo, salute anyway, my bro. Salute. Hey, so anyway, boxing so far this year has been okay. The year's not wrapped up. You know what I mean? I'm really looking to the Fulton fight when that fight happens. The Gamboa's fight on Triller. I don't really care about that fight. I just care about AJ. The heavyweight division, the welterweight division need to wrap up, and that's it, man. What do you guys care about so far? Anything fights you're looking for? Hey, you know what? We didn't talk about the Mauricio Lara fight and the headbutt with Josh Warrington. I think that was deliberate, man.
Oh God!
What do you think, Mark?
I'm sick to the back seat of the conversation of that shit, man. Because that really fucking bothered me. The whole, like, those fans, it was £2,500 to be in the front foyer, not even in the front row, in the front foyer to go to that, and then that fucking happens. Some bullshit, man. Like, honest to God, and I agree with you, by the way. I think he was intentionally headbutting.
Yeah, it was intentionally. That was his tactics because he thinks the guy's dirty. I think deliberately tried to headbutt him. I think he was trying to get an advantage, and it was bad. It was bad. It's very, very, very bad. Very bad. I think Josh Warrington, he's made some real blunders of mistakes. Like, he did all right when he was with Frank Warren. Whoever told him to vacate the belt, I think that they should. Whoever told him that, like, did he decide that? Who decided that? I think it was Eddie Hearn. I honestly think Eddie Hearn said, "Well, you don't want to fight that guy. You might as well vacate the belt." Because just vacate the belt. We'll get you another fight. We'll try to get someone else, and don't worry about it. I think Eddie Hearn. I think, oh yeah, you know what? That makes it that means I don't have to fight him. You know what I mean? You try to avoid someone and you walk right into a landmine. It goes, look, give me. If I vacate the belt, can I fight anyone? Yeah, you can fight anyone. Who do you want to fight? Just give me any Mexican. Any Mexican. All right. Let me call Canelo up. Canelo, you got any Mexicans? Yeah. I got one. All right. Yeah, I'll take him. Where's he ranked? Oh, number 100 in the world. Yeah, that's him. I'll take him. And you see what happened, then. You see boxing. Sometimes, when you work hard to get a belt, I can't believe how easy he threw that belt in the bin. And then when he got in that fight, the frustration, he knew that he was going to get hurt. It was not going his way. I'm telling you straight from now. Lara was going to knock him out again. And he bloody put his head down and did it deliberately because he knew he was going to go one way. He didn't even look like he was even sad by it. It's horrible. That cut was awful. Absolutely awful, And there was another cut on Frank Warren's card where there was a headbutt clash and then they stopped the card. Immediately went to the cards. I was like, what? It went to the cards? Like, it was well deep into the fight as well. But because he's a Frank Warren fighter, they give him the whip, they give him the nod. So boxing there's some serious corruption going on, and it's like we just accepted it because there's all the people who challenge that have been paid off. Steve Bunce, all the sports writers, Colin Hart, all of them have been paid off. They'll just keep quiet and keep the money rolling. There's no one out here challenging the bullshit except for us here on YouTube. Go ahead.
Look, Jimmy's at it again. I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah, that's bothering me, though.
Yeah, Lennox best wins against Tyson. Did you forget Vitaly Klitschko, Jimmy? Who arguably is the better Klitschko than Vladimir?
Yeah,
Get out of here. You're gonna compare
Wait. You seriously going to compare Parker?
Hold on, let's see.
Ruiz?
What names did he say?
He said Lennox
White,
only beat.
Parker.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ruiz, Parker, and who
Martin
else?
and Charles Martin. So Charles Martin's better than David too, or Jimmy?
Is he better than Tony Tucker?
I don't think so.
Is he better than Razor Ruddock?
Is he better than Evander Holyfield?
Oh, Jimmy, look, man, I like you, man, but come on, stop trolling, man. Seriously.
That's gotta be trolling. You've got to be trolling, otherwise, just like don't come to me on that, man.
Yeah, let's just leave it alone. I mean, as we were, EJ, as you were saying, I forgot, man. What were you saying? EJ?
I'm there, bro.
Yeah, I forgot. What
I was talking
was
about the corruption in boxing then.
Oh yeah. With Warrington. You know what? That headbutt looked deliberately, and Warrington didn't seem bothered by the fact that the fight ended. He seemed very happy. That's what it seemed like to me, because he knew when he felt those shots early on, and yeah, trust me, those shots hurt him. He knew he was going to be in for a long night again, and that's probably why when that head clash happened and Laura got cut the way he did, he was relieved that fight was over. So, but at this point, you could say, okay, I got a technical draw, but you still didn't win the fight. You didn't get your get back. So, what's Eddie Hearn going to do with him now? You don't have a belt. You gave him your belt to initially fight this guy as you thought it was a tune-up. It turned out to be a disaster, and you got in the rematch. You didn't win, or you didn't lose. But the fact is, you didn't win the fight. So now what? Where does he go from here? Where does Warrington go from here at this point? A rematch with Gillihan? I mean, if Gillihan does want the rematch, that's on his terms. So I don't know, man. Josh Warrington kind of shot himself in the foot, man. And to EJ's point, I think, and I said this a long time ago, I think it was Hearn who persuaded him to give up the belt. I don't know why he told him to do it, but that was just that was a terrible mistake at the end of the day. So, I mean, I don't see him beating Gary Russell. I don't see him beating Shakur Stevenson if he decides to go back down to featherweight. I don't see him beating all the other featherweights in the division. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Josh Warrington kind of disappoints me. I really like him as a fighter. I did rate him very highly, but I don't know where he goes at this point. So I don't know. Robert, you want to chime in on that?
I don't know what the talking point was.
No, we were just saying that if you think, I know Warrington hit, but we already talked about that. He deliberately did it just to get out of the Lara fight. But my point is that I don't know where he goes from here. What do you think?
I don't know what they're gonna do with him, but I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna try and get Lara out of that picture and conversation by putting him over with Galahad, because he seems to have all of the style and capabilities to actually beat Lara. Like, he knows how to mix his jab up and change levels and move his feet, everything Warrington can't do. Like, if you sit there and exchange with Lara, you're gonna get knocked out, aren't you?
Yep.
But Galahad, he's the right style to fight him, negate him, you know? So I think that's what they're gonna do. And they'll probably end up like chilling out with Warrington, get him a couple of fights, maybe get Conlon versus Wood, and then do Warrington versus Mick Conlon for the regular title or some shit. Or maybe Conlon gets elevated to super champion because Leo's belt will go vacant then, because Conlon's enough of a draw to become a subsidiary. You get what I mean?
Yeah. If I was Gary Russell Jr., I'd give Lara a title shot. Gary Russell Jr., he got the start to make Lara look silly, bro. That's what I would do, and solidify himself as the number one, because, Josh Warren's walking around, I was the number one. I was saying, who told you was number one over Gary Russell Jr.? Who fought better competition than you at your weight class, man? You can't just proclaim yourself as the best when the best there is Gary Russell Jr., and that's what's happening in the sport of boxing. Eddie Hearn is deliberately avoiding certain fighters. You know what I mean? He's doing it deliberately. That's why they got rid of him, and Clarissa Shields and Hannah Marshall, Savannah Marshall's happening. That's because Eddie Hearn didn't want to. They didn't want to deal with him, and he's doing the same thing with AJ and Wilder. That fight happened because Eddie Hearn blocked it. He blocking great fights, and that's terrible. That's terrible, man. As much as he's put into boxing, some of the fights there, he's trying to take away as well. Anyone who doesn't want to give the fans what we want, they're not good for boxing. You know what I mean? You supposed to give it, and then you give us the zone card, bro. Hey, he's raised the price here, by the way. and is the as the fights got better. I don't think so, bro.
Well, you know what? Speaking of that, is AJ? You think You guys think AJ is going to sign on to the zone after this fight with Usyk, or is he going to stay on Sky?
I think he's going to sign over to the zone. Did you see his most recent Instagram thing?
No, I didn't take a look at it. What did it say?
Hold on, let me make sure I've got this correct because I don't want to be quoting the man incorrectly.
If I was him, he'd do one fight deal with everyone. He should do a one fight deal with everyone.
Anthony Joshua. Yeah. So I've got a link here for EJ. I'll give this link to EJ.
No, I'm on it right now. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, so if you go onto his Instagram, look for the black and white photo of him with Usyk on the screen, and then read the caption he's got underneath.
A black and white fit. I'm on AJ Boxing. Which one is it? AJ Boxing. Which one is it? Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua.
Okay, I'll give him 1 second. Let me find that one.
And look for the second image. You'll see it's a black and white one, and Usyk's big ugly head is on the screen with AJ's back.
Okay, let me see. Oh yeah, I see that one. I see that. Yeah, it's got the Tottenham. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
What does the caption say?
The caption say Sky Sports at Sky Sports at the Zone Boxing.
Yeah, he edited that.
Yeah,
he edited that. The other day it said soon at the Zone Boxing.
Okay, so they changed his mind. So that's what I reckon. He's just gonna work along with both of them. Both of them gonna get paid, man. So I just have a contract with both of them. Why not? You know, both of them could pay, and he's on both of them. Why not? But I mean, they've been on both channels anyway. It was on the Zone and it was on Sky Sports. Everyone gets paid. I mean, why change the relationship?
Yeah, so I guess he's gonna. I predict that he's gonna be a free agent, which means that he's gonna go to the highest bidder, whoever can offer the most and who can outbid the other, like Canelo is doing. You know, so I think that's the route he's gonna go.
Yeah, I personally think he should just stay with both of them and just continue what he's doing. Really, I mean, shit, he getting paid. AJ getting paid nicely. You know, even if AJ loses, AJ's just money, bro. It's just money. You know, the other thing, in fact, it's a shame for us that he hasn't really broken into America market. We should be in terms of a world global star. He's basically still a UK commodity right now. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is, he's a knockout artist. American HBO. A shame he didn't really have a fight on HBO. For some reason, he's not embracing the American market. I don't know what uncomfortability he has with American market, but he hasn't embraced. Lennox Lewis couldn't wait to fight in New York and fight in Las Vegas and Vegas. Ricky Hatton said the same thing. I want to fight in Vegas. I want to fight. Carl Froch wanted to. He never had a fight in his career. You know, he should have had. These guys should, you know, as a boxer, not only be a world champion, want to be on the biggest stage where the whole world is watching you. And I can guarantee, like, the UK, yeah, the whole of the UK, Europe is watching you, and some parts of America. But if you want to be the biggest star, New York is the first star. You know, the media capital, one of the media capitals of the world. And this, that, and AJ embracing it. Is Usyk that type of guy? Usyk's not charismatic either. He's very quiet and very... AJ is very plastic as well. Both of them are very low-key kind of guys that people respect. They're kind of old school, you know, pleasant most of the time and respectful. So, but hey, you know, that's what I see anyway. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we shut it down?
I think that we covered everything just about. I got nothing else.
Are we talking about the price? I want to hear Mark's price on the Zone. My man said, I hope AJ goes to the Zone. I'm trying to pay. I'm tired of paying £26 for fights. Yeah. Match rather than £8. Yeah. What do you think about the Zone price, Mark?
I don't really care too much at the moment. Like, they're not putting any fights on the Zone, really. You're getting one fight a month for £8. I mean,
see,
it's not really it for me.
Nah, it's not. I think I had a lot of people unsubscribe when they moved the price up, actually.
Look, if they when they have a better schedule together, I'll get it for £8. Right? So let's say I have a schedule set and I've got like 12 fights over the next 4 months, then I'll be like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'll give you your £8 for 3 fights.
America getting a thing for their buck. They get all of our fights and they don't have to pay. I mean, they get the AJ fights.
Yeah, but we ain't putting on any fights, and Americans don't care about our fights.
No, but they get the them lot. I know, but them lot get the AJ fight. They don't have to pay extra money like we do. You know what I mean? And they get all the golden boy cards, and you know they get all that. So they get everything. They paid a bit. They pay a bit more. They only pay £2 more than us, innit? They pay like $10, innit?
Yeah, but the only difference between us and them right now on the zone is, right, and this is being straightforward, is they get the AJ fights on the zone, we don't, right?
Yes,
That's the only, that's the only difference. And right now, we still ain't getting shit. We've had like 6 cards in the last 4 months on the zone.
Yeah, where's the Canelo fights, man? Where's all the Canelo fighting bullshit? Canelo's been fighting bullshit fights, man. The Billy Joe Saunders fight should have been the start.
He's
That
fighting
fight
on Fox next.
Yeah, good. Yeah, like, you know,
pay-per-view. Fox
yeah,
pay-per-view.
I mean, how did Eddie Hearn lose him? Eddie Hearn was talking mad smack, bruh. You see, when it ups him, his face just turns another color when he thinks about that, man.
Well, you know, is to think about that is like you kind of look at that and say, okay, the much as criticism the PBC get, and rightfully so, that some of the criticism is very warranted. But they seem to be putting on these undisputed fights, these unification bouts. Top Rank to an extent has been doing that as well. What's going on with Matchroom? Why? What's going on with them? I know they're doing it with Katie Taylor and the women fighters. That's a lot easier to deal with. But on the men's side, what's going on? It seems like nobody wants to deal with her. What is it about Eddie Hearn people don't like? I don't understand it. Yes, he can say things that are contradictory, but I don't think he's that bad of a promoter or bad of a guy as I mean, I guess that's me looking from the outside in. But what's your take on it, guys? You probably would know more than I do about Eddie Hearn's personality. But go ahead.
I've got an opinion, and it may get a bit controversial, and Dan may try and stab me in the head when I say this. I think Hearn's very like Al Heyman in many ways. I think no, hear me out. All
right, go ahead, man.
I'm not talking in terms of intellect or procedures or however. I'm talking about in roster flow.
Right.
Okay. Roster flow. They both have a boatload of fighters. And neither of them have the dates. The difference is Al's fighters can't just up and leave. Eddie's can.
Right.
And I think that's the major thing. I think that's something there. A lot of these fighters, there's too much competition. Like it's a revolving door on Matchroom right now. Like there's a lot of competition for very few slots. And they're trying to use like they're putting Campbell Hatton on major shows, right? But then you've got European caliber guys who aren't getting a look in because they don't sell. And Eddie is a bottom dollar guy, just like Al. They're bottom dollar men. And they're basing their budget around their shows, right? So they're putting on the cheapest possible show they can to keep things going whilst making profit on the back end.
Right.
And I think that's what's going on. And that's why more men are starting to leave. And the reason the girls aren't is because the girls don't have anywhere to really go.
True. Excellent point.
The men do.
Right. So basically the bottom line is that, you know, just like Heyman, Eddie is hoarding a lot of his fighters. And that's definitely detrimental because, it's great to have a full, it's great to have a full roster, a great in-depth roster of fighters. But if you can't give them dates, what's good of having them around?
Well, Matchroom have an amazing portfolio of heavyweights, right? They actually do. They have what is it, 21 overall on the roster? I think 5 of them have fought in the last 15 months.
Yeah.
Because there's no slots. I mean, Alan Babbage is Eddie Hearn's most active heavyweight.
Right.
Let that sink in. Alan Babbage is his most active heavyweight.
Yeah, you know, it's funny about that.
Because he's cheap and affordable.
He's cheap and affordable. He can actually draw. He can draw a little bit. And that's why people wondering why
he can draw. He's a gimmick and he's cheap.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's why people are wondering why Herkovic can't get the fights in the schedule like Herkovic. I mean, that Babbage is getting. Well, because Herkovic can't sell. I'm just being honest. I like Herkovic, but that's probably the reason why Eddie Hearn is putting more effort into Babbage, because those, as we just pointed out there, because Babbage is cheap, he can sell, he can draw. I mean, he's a talker. He knows how to he knows how to bring drama into fights. Herkovic doesn't do that. So, I mean, that's just my opinion on it. So, yeah, I definitely agree with your point, Mark.
It's all bullshit, man. It's all bullshit. My man saying PVC duck him. I mean, let's
Jimmy
go.
again.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go. PBC be dark, fighters be dark. Spence darks Crawford. Okay, I agree with that one. Charlo dark Andrade. I'm not too sure about that one. Wilder definitely didn't dock AJ. Hell no. Tank docked Lomachenko. Could possibly. He ain't too far off. Yeah, PVC
so
boxers
Tank and
protected and cherry
Lomachenko,
picking.
there was no hold on. Tank and Lomachenko, there was no deal offered. Right?
Nah.
That's the first one. Charlo ducked Andrade, just like right, and he says Wilder ducked AJ. Now let's talk about this for a second.
Go ahead.
There was an offer put to both, right? And then there was an offer sent back from Wilder to AJ. Right? Now, many people will say, well, the Wilder one, that was a publicity stunt. But they won't hold the same principle in case of Andrade and Charlo, right? Now, they sent over an offer. Money sells, right? Now, I was just sitting there wondering, they've sent over an offer for a guy they know won't fight him, but they're not willing to make an offer to the IBF champion on the same platform where they can make that fight happen as a unification. Anybody know who that IBF champion is, fellas?
I'm listening.
Golovkin.
Golovkin, yeah.
Yeah, they never made that offer, Andre, to Golovkin. Never made that offer. Eddie never made the offer. So he says, "Oh, we want the Charlo fight." Well, why aren't you looking to make the in-house fight, my guy? It's there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, as far as the Wilder and AJ situation, I'm going to take a fair position on that one. Look, they both extended offers with each other. To your point, Mark, that did happen. Now, you can argue who fault was it, but the fact is, I'm going to take it from the horse's mouth here. Anthony Joshua, when he did an interview with Breakfast Club, he said, if you want to blame anyone for a reason why Wilder and I didn't fight, blame me and blame him. And the reason why you have to blame both of us, because there were terms he didn't like in the terms we sent to him, and there was terms I didn't like when he sent over to me. So it takes two people to make the fight, and unfortunately, we couldn't come to terms with each other. So,
Hey,
Don,
how many horses are there? One or two?
One. Many. Too many horses.
Well, when it comes to these two men, there's two horses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're taking the word out of one horse's mouth. What about the word of the other horse's mouth? Deontay
Well,
Wilder.
I don't believe. Yeah,
I turned down more money to fight Anthony Joshua to fight you instead.
Well, that's my point. I was going to get to that, and then my point is they both avoided the fight, so they both didn't come to terms with each other. So I can't say one duck who. I mean, one admitted that he turned down more money to fight the other one, and the other one said, yeah, there were certain terms I didn't like when the offer he sent to me, so I turned it down. So they both turned each other down. That's my whole point. They both did.
That's not a duck. It's not a duck, then, isn't it? They definitely didn't duck each other. They wanted to fight, but whatever reason happened, that never happened. And I blame Eddie Hearn. I do, man, because if Eddie really was, because Eddie made the Eubank versus Golovkin, right? He had it all there. It was only because Eubank, where Eddie perceived that Eubank didn't want it, and I don't know why Eubank Jr. is still talking that shit, right? When he had it on the table. And his dad said his dad got wobbly knees and they pulled out of that one, right? But Eddie got the fight. So what I'm trying to say is that when Eddie wants the fight, because when Eddie wants the fight, he'll go for it, man. He'll go for it. I mean, sure, he'd have said to you, I mean, what did Eubank fought? I can't remember what Bummy fought before that. And he said, we want Golovkin. And he goes, all right, cool. We're bringing him in Showtime. All them big wigs, they all came down. They're all there. And what did he do? What did Eubank do, the little shit house? And his dad, oh, we need this. They started making demands that you weren't going to get yourself out of the fight.
They lost a pen, right? They lost a pen, innit? So
yeah, they lost their pen. I mean, look, they weren't going to make that fight. In fact, Chris Eubank Sr. said, I think they fought Spike O'Sullivan. I think that's the fight you were mentioning, UJ. It could have been that one. But anyhow, the post fight.
You got to bring up Spike, man.
I don't know. He wasn't. Spike wasn't. I mean, look, he's high level journeyman. Not a bad guy.
Leave Spike alone, man.
My bad, man.
That's all we got. That's all I fucking got is that John L. Sullivan shit ripoff.
That's why Kais calls himself Spike O'Sullivan, because he probably admired John L. Sullivan. But anyway, look, I do recall at a press conference at the post fight, Chris Eubank Jr., this is what the words he said. He said, I tell you what, if the fight does not happen between my son and Golovkin, blame Sky. Don't blame us. So when he said that, I was like, okay, this fight's not going to happen. Because it was pretty much premeditated that he knew that they wanted to get out that fight one way or the other. So that's just my take on that one.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, all I know is Kelbrook got his eyes shattered, yeah?
Yeah. Not a funny situation, but it is what it is. I mean, Kell,
I
bro.
know it's not a funny situation, but it is amusing.
Right.
In
Yeah,
a weird
it
way.
is. Yeah, it is in a weird way.
You can't
Right.
be a boxing fan, Dan, without being able to laugh at the absurd and the violent.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, it is argumentative that Kell Brook shouldn't have not even been in the ring with Golovkin. To be fair to Kell Brook, it's not like he got completely dominated. He had some success early on, and then he realized he couldn't deal with the pressure of Gennady Golovkin. So that's what broke him down. So,
Yeah.
but
EJ bailed.
did he bail out?
Yeah, EJ pure bailed, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm about to get off too. If that's the case, because I think we've had a good discussion today. What do you have? Anything you want to add, man?
Nah, I'm all good. I'm all
right.
good.
Hey, man, it's good chopping it up with you. It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, you too, man. I'm in all of the hangout groups. You can message me any fucking time.
All right, cool. I'll do that, man. I might hop on your channel again so we can chop it up. All right.
All right. Peace
All
out,
right, man. Peace out.
And then there was me, in charge of EJ Boxing Live. I could make this a grandstand situation and get EJ banned, but I've got a lot of respect and time for EJ. So, with that said, thank you everybody for listening in. Hope all of you guys feel well. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Oh, you're back.
Yeah. I just had a technical problem. Dan's a deep. He had to cut out. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was it. I blame Eddie Hearn anyway.
Dan left because you left.
Oh, he left. That's it. How loyal? Look how loyal he is, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, didn't think I was gonna come back. I had technical problems.
EJ, you do have this thing where you like disappear and then like you come back and the stream's still up 12 hours later. You know?
Is that no? That's the one when I'm asleep. I'm actually falling. No, but I've realized that I've actually admitted that I can't do the late things no more, man. You know what I mean? I can go into like the 2s and the 3s in the morning, but then after that, man, it's nah. Can't do it no more, man. You know what I mean? I ain't got it in me no more unless it's a big enough fight. You know what I mean? And you're talking up and then, but even then we'll be talking. And I'll drop off. But no, not this one. This is a great conversation, by the way. I blame Eddie Hearn not making that fight. But other than that, anything else you want to say, Mark? And wrap it up.
No, I don't really have anything else to add. It's been a pleasure chilling with you.
Yeah, man, and you as well.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. The funny thing, we used to talk with it. You know that since they changed the hangout format, and where we used to just call each other and talk. Since they changed that, we don't really interact with each other. Like the only time I see is like I see Mad Chad's video. A lot of times I see over there. I see Boxing Librarian. Occasionally I might go.
I'm still in the hangout groups. Anytime.
Yeah, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Occasionally I go check over on Beats over there, the Boxing Voice. It seems like the community, everyone's talking. It seems everyone seems like they're getting along with each other. That's the main thing, and there's not too much thing. You know, end of the day, they're gonna get a conclusion. You know, AJ Wilder, all this thing's gonna come to head. Like Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, it all comes to the head, and then what are people gonna do with their lives since? You know what I mean? What are they gonna do if their channel's based on this frucker and this one-sided thing? It's like you criticize people where they do bad, and then you give people props where they do props. But ultimately, it comes down to this boxing thing. We watch the fights for excitement, and vicariously we watch them, live through them, or we think we feel their pains and stuff like that. But you know, it's not a big part of who we are. It's just entertainment. So that's the way I see it. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. The most important part of us being able to talk boxing is all of us get to give our actual opinions. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the most important thing. It's just the YTBC is just a huge barbershop, man. That's what it's supposed to be.
There you go. That's what it is. It's like a good couch. We were sitting there, amalgamations of opinions, and we argue and stuff like that. But it seems like everyone's settling down now and realizing there's more important things in life than sitting there and this guy didn't have title defenses. AJ. This guy had how many title defenses, but he's fought in bums. It's like there's so many holes to pick. But really and truly, did you watch the title defense? Was you entertained when you watched them? Yeah, I was. What are you complaining about? Did you get your money's worth? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's what it comes down to. So I'll leave it on a good note like that. Don't be so much. People should.
Note.
Pardon?
That's a positive note.
Yeah. Always try to be, man. So Mark, hey, if you don't know, check out your channel, Unrivaled Boxing Talk, over there with Mark. Yeah, so you make sure you guys are sub. Make sure you sub to Dan the Man Boxing as well if you haven't subscribed to him. And we will catch you very, very soon. Hopefully, if not this weekend, the weekend after, when the more fights continue. From EJ Boxing Live, from Unrivaled Mark, we'll catch you next one. Peace.